It is a civilizational crisis. I've said this before. We are at a place, and you can see it from a mile away, we are at a place where great civilizations start to go and new civilizational models begin to gain steam, and there's a place where those two cross paths and they simply cannot coexist. We are there right now.
So shout out to Paleocrat.
Oh yeah, follow Paleocrat. He's all over this.
The woman explained how her boyfriend told her that his high fiber diet means that wiping is completely unnecessary. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing stars. They're worse than the people on the corner talking about the rapture's about to happen. It's an apocalyptic death cult. It's so demonic. I'm starting to think there's some kind of a conspiracy going on around here. Yeah, we are the Wolfpack, by the way, guys. I forgot to say that. Ow! It's good to see you. It's good to see you. You guys always get me riled up, wild and zany. It's so eminent. Everything is eminent right now. 12 years, 8 years, we're all doomed. But the great animal uprising of 2020 is happening all around. They're even starting to talk, dude. I've seen movies. They're just at this point pulling diamonds out of their rear end, which would be a fascinating ability, by the way. I heard it's all about the pressure. It's gonna happen, guys. We're gonna push, and we're gonna push hard, because that is what is always done. That is what America does, which is why you can see all that destruction. And what happens, by the way? Cities get burned, windows get smashed, people get pulled out of their cars, individuals have been shot, individuals have been beat bloody on the streets, and then what ends up happening? White supremacy is the big problem in America. What? No! No, no, no! It's over, man. It is over, son. I think they're lying to us. And you know how we know this? Because they buy into everything. They spread fake news like crazy. Is this real, guys? 50-50. There are people out there that have physiques like that. You see them oftentimes in parking garages like valet drivers and stuff. If you want to be an ignoramus and try to do the fisticuffs, hit the road, Jack and Jacqueline and Karen. Oh, you're not based, dude. You're based in Pato land, as in like located. Let's look him up on Google real quick. Oh, he's on 666 Pato Street. We're just gonna have fun. There's no serious stuff going on here. Oh, they're mukbang spiders. Why? Oh, holy crap. No. No, no, no. Do not flaunt that. That is not something to be proud of. There's been a big price tag for the sins that we've committed as a nation. And we've committed some of the most grotesque sins in the history of the world. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this dude. He's kind of a beta cock, Play-Doh rolling, bubble blowing kind of guy. He says, you better take off that effing shirt, because it offends women. What an ignorant way of looking at the world. You're going to be tossed to and fro by every whim and fancy of a culture that hates you. This dude thinks it's offensive to women that I don't walk around with my shirt off. It's easy to say how great we are, and I believe that we're truly great. On the other hand, we got Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. They have no connection with the past, other than to simply remind the past always how much they hate it, and to dance on the graves of the democracy dead. The rabbits are now dressing up as Nicolas Cage. Plastic surgery, I bet, probably from that stinking cat. And you're like, you don't do plastic surgery. And he says, look at the plastic surgery I did for the rabbit. We need to repent. We need to take a knee for Jesus. Paleocrat's using that argument again. Come on, son. That's good, wholesome American stuff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome. What for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear. Yeah, the champions, yeah.
Good morning, everybody. What an amazing day it is to be alive. It is Wednesday, November 25th, and it's so funny. And I'm sorry I'm so late. And in fact, this may be, well, no, it's the second latest that we've ever been. We started one time at noon. That happened. That was outside my control, though. Today, no, that's on me. And the thing is that yesterday, toward the end of the show, I kept thinking that it was Wednesday and that we were going to be doing a live show on Thanksgiving night, and that would have been today. I was very wrong about this, guys. I was very, very wrong about this. So I'm hoping that there's not a lot of people royally confused about this. I do apologize. I do apologize. But we're here. We are here, and we've got an awesome show for you. We will not be here tomorrow. We will not be here tomorrow, not only because tomorrow is Thanksgiving, at least not tomorrow morning. We're going to be here tomorrow night. Okay, we're going to do an unlisted video, so you're going to have to watch that video tomorrow night, and it's only going to be fun, right? We'll talk fun stuff. We'll talk family stuff, you know, personal stuff, whatever. We'll engage a lot in the comments. That's going to go on, but that is going to be an unlisted video. So to see that at all, you're going to need to go, and you're going to need to check out paleocratdiaries.com. That is going to be the only place where you're going to have that link. Okay, so if you want to watch that tomorrow, you want to engage in that, and it's going to be fun because, you know, I'm encouraging everybody, bring some leftovers. Bring some leftovers. Or if you're on the other side of the world, you know, bring whatever you got. You know, bring your breakfast. Because normally the people that we have listening, for example, in India, we got a buddy here in India that watches the show. He's normally tuning in at night, and so he's drinking beer. Well, maybe some of the listeners in the morning here are drinking beer. I don't know where you guys are in your life, you know what I mean? But you know, but he's eating dinner normally. That's why we joke around about raising up a hamburger to the sky when we howl at the sun and stuff, or a corn on the cob or whatever. And so maybe he'll be eating some breakfast over there. Maybe he'll be eating some breakfast while we're eating leftovers from Thanksgiving dinner. But either which way, we're going to have a good time. And we're going to eat some food. I might even do a little mukbang. Not the gross stuff, man. I can't deal with that anyway. I would be the proper mukbanger. The person who's not getting junk all down my face. You know what I'm saying? And so make sure to do that. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Speaking of a bunch of fun, we are going to have a blast today, guys. There are a whole bunch of really great topics. The first hour, okay, we may cut it at 11, right? So 45 minutes. Talking about fun stories. We got a whole bunch of really good ones. We've got this idea, for example, a monolith was discovered in Utah during a sheep counting operation, and apparently there's a lot of mystery around this thing. Nobody knows exactly where it came from. One of these stories, I don't know if you guys think this is a good idea or a bad idea. We're going to talk about it. Woman shares baffling guide on how to cook Christmas dinner in the dishwasher. To me, that sounds really terrible. We're going to find out. I hope there's a video with that. And then we're going to talk about some serious stuff, okay? And that's going to be around 11 o'clock. We're going to talk about the D.C. Archbishop affirming that he will give Holy Communion to pro-abortion Joe Biden. That's going to happen, guys. And the dissent already that's happening among bishops over that very issue. We're going to talk, of course, about the Pope. Pope Francis lashes out at lockdown protesters, saying they'd never protest children lacking water. Apparently, he doesn't know very many of us. He doesn't know very many deplorables. That's really unfortunate. In fact, what's crazy about it is that not just children lacking water, but I'm somebody who believes that people should stand up, right, to these lockdowns, and that people need to say enough is enough. We have the statistics, we have the numbers, we've been following this guideline for a long time. It's garbage. I'm one of those people talking about that topic. I'm shedding light on this issue. At the same time, I'm also somebody who spent enormous amounts of time talking about the lead in the water in Detroit and the way that affected children. And we were on that story, partially because we're from Michigan, partially because we actually care about kids. Care about kids. Okay? And so because we care about kids, and we care about people, and we care about access to things like, I don't know, food and water, clean air and stuff like that, that I made sure to talk about it. So apparently he doesn't know very many of us, but he's lashing out at us. And I defend him all the time. I defended, you know, I don't bend over backwards and make a dummy out of myself over claims I don't need to defend. But I also don't, you know, I don't throw stones at the throne here. But this right here, I'm just recognizing, look, he's lashing out at us. It's a great article over there at LifeSite News. So we're going to talk about that. Talk about COVID. We're going to talk about election news and the cover-up that's going on. Cover-up, in fact, even in Michigan. Michigan, Georgia, lawsuits coming. Talk about that. Talk about the Great Reset. We got a lot, guys, to talk about. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and transition over here. We're going to pull this up, yeah, right there. Pope Francis lashes out at lockdown protesters. Before we move on, though, I want to show you guys this, okay? Because some of you may be a little bit confused, and I don't want you to be. And so this is the way this show rolls. The way it works is simple, okay? This show is all over the place. Not just topically, but we are literally all over the place on social media, online, everywhere. So we have multiple streams going at the exact same time on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, DLive. It's all over. Eventually, we're going to have it set up so that the live stream can just be done right at paleocratdiaries.com. And I'll just say, look, if you want to watch the show, make sure, please, come to paleocratdiaries.com. We'll have a thread open there, set up. I think it'll be a Twitch. And I don't know, man. I personally have never gone and used it directly by itself. I've restreamed through it, but never been there by itself. But no matter where you're watching this, okay, as you can see on the screen, you can see little symbols there for Facebook. The little blue ones are Facebook. The red ones are YouTube. And you can see YouTube is kind of blending in. Not too many yet that are in there. So I'm wondering, got to make sure he's got them all lined up. Says a whole bunch of people tuned in right now. And so I need to thank all of you. Each and every person right now who's tuned in, I am glad you're here. Okay. In fact, I was talking to a buddy. Yesterday about why I do the show. I'll talk about it here in a second. But the idea is, no matter where you are, if you're posting a comment, for example, here's Facebook. Bethany says, "Yo, home skillet, happy day to you. Big old strong arm and smiley face." Yep, that's a good picture of me. One strong arm. I have one strong arm, right? Really super buff. I work out really hard on it. It's my best side, you know. And I got that smile. Look at that. It's looking good. It's looking good. Got a little twinkle on the tooth there. Peter says, the Popey has a great choice in his models, especially the one with the short Scotty skirt. That's kind of a cheap shot. We talked about that. It's a cheap shot only because people in this line of business know that the idea that he's running his Instagram, or maybe even has access to his own Instagram, is actually probably highly unlikely. It's more likely that people who work for him and that are part of his media team, he probably has a pretty sizable team that's dealing with this, that it's got somebody on there who, you know, likes seeing scandalous pictures of women and made a big mistake and is probably going to get their butt fired. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And so it's just unlikely. And I say it's unlikely. I don't say it's impossible. I say it's unlikely that the Pope is sitting there going through Instagram, clicking heart on a bunch of pictures of, you know, scandalous women. Just don't see it. Far more likely it's somebody else. All right, let's see here. I'd really like to know the words to the intro song, the rap, Help. We got to find some lyrics to that, man. We got to look that up. Got to look it up. Brian on YouTube says, "Good morning. Taking that coffee straight to the dome, son." And a knee for Jesus. You got to do it, man. You got to take a knee for Jesus Christ. That's what this show is ultimately about. More than anything else. More than anything else in all the world. And we can talk about it, man. You know, he says Wolfpack strong. We are Wolfpack strong. Okay, we are the Wolfpack here. We are together in this. You know, when we talk about that, we talk about the great evil of our time. We talk about how we're living through tumultuous times, really difficult, dark, and evil. We talk about family. We talk about church. We talk about all these different things. But at the end of the day, the main thing is that we are advancing something much bigger than ourselves, something that's eternal. And that thing that's eternal requires of us at the very outset that we take a knee for Jesus Christ. And so we encourage everybody. We say, look, if you've never taken a knee for Jesus Christ, we say, look, do it. And if you're somebody, let's say you're somebody who's fallen away from the church, or you're somebody who's never been part of the church ever, right? You you've been in dark places in your life, or, you know, like I was saying, I talked to my buddy about it just yesterday a little bit. If you're in that place, reach out to us. Okay, we actually really encourage you to do that. People can attest to this. If you email us, we'll contact you back. We'll talk to you. In fact, if you email, if you send me something on social media, you'll get a response. But I treat it like tweets. I mean, it's like a character limit for me. I don't like being on social media too much, even Messenger. But if you send an email to paleocratdiaries@gmail.com, if you send us an email there, okay, when you do that, we will see it. And it comes straight to us. And in fact, if you go, in fact, I'll pull it up right now. Let me see if I can just pull it up. Yeah, paleocratdiaries.com. Okay. If you go there, you can find here, I don't know if it's got, oh, hold on, to view this content, click reload. Let me see if I can reload this. Okay, well, this is the membership page. This is $5 every month. You can become a member. You can count me in, whatever. But the thing is, we don't even emphasize money here. If you want to, we'd love it, man. It helps us. It helps us do what we do. And the main thing that we do is help our kids go to school. So 100%, in fact, 100% of everything we make on this show goes directly to my kids' school, and we'll show a video for that later. But if you click on this, it says, let's chat. See that? Let's chat. Ask us any question, and you can just type your message right in there. That goes straight to my phone. There is nobody in between. I don't have a team of people, you know, providing cover for me and saying, oh, you know, we'll make sure that only the good ones get to you. No. Okay, just everybody. You go in there, you want to comment to me. Now, look, if you're trolling, I'll troll you back. You know, I'll play that game. I don't mind. We do it all the time. It's a whole bunch of fun. But you got to make sure, you know, if you've never taken a knee for Jesus Christ, or if you did in the past and you fell away and you're at that place that you say, man, I need to get my life right again, I want you to know that we're here for you, and that I mean that from my heart. We talk about this every day. And a lot of shows, you know, they talk about God, they pray, but I think we're at a point now where we just have to make that call every day. I think we got to make that call every single day and say, look, you know, there are people every day going through some junk. And I'll tell you, I'll give you an example, okay, before we move on. And this is the last thing I'll say in the lead up here. Other than a reminder to say that if you're in the Lansing area, make sure 12 to noon to 3 on Saturday in Lansing, Michigan is going to be a Stop the Steal rally. Your boy's going to be there, going to be doing one of the jobs speaking. I also know somebody else that's going to be doing some of that. My buddy over here, Rob the Anti-Narrative. That's his Telegram channel right there. Here he is. He's my boy. He's my boy. He's actually one of my favorite sources here for the show. I use a lot of the articles that he shares on his Telegram channel. Really, really great guy. He's also going to be a speaker there. There's going to be a whole bunch of amazing people speaking there, and I'll talk more on Friday about that. But the thing is that I talked to a buddy yesterday, and I just want to get personal with you guys for a second, okay? I was talking to a buddy of mine, and we haven't talked in a long time. Okay, I was in his wedding. We were in the Navy together. He stood at my wedding. Okay, he was one of the people at my wedding. And my anniversary, 18th anniversary with my wife, is tomorrow. We're going to talk about that. It's going to be a really great time. And so, but we haven't talked in a long time. He's in Ohio. And we got talking, you know, last night. And we talked a couple days ago, and we talked again last night. Because, you know, he texted me, and it kind of came out that not everything had come out in the first conversation. And so we talked more. And we talked for probably about an hour. And without going into everything, the main thing that we took from it was that a lot of people are trying their best. And they wake up and they do their thing. They've got a wife. They've got some kids. They've got a job. They attend their church. They're doing, you know, they're involved in organizations and groups, and they're trying to do their thing, but they feel really alone. And it's difficult because they don't feel as if there's any kind of game plan, either to be a man or to be a Christian, to be a father. And that if there is a game plan, it's like it's all over the place. It's like you have selection paralysis. You can go online and you got about a bazillion different plans in a way, and yet none of them that are personal. They're all just, you know, kind of out there. Nothing tangible, nothing that you can connect with in a really personal way. And not that there's nothing, but that it's difficult. And it's difficult for a lot of people. And we talked about that. And I said, this is a good idea, man. I'm thinking about it. I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but there's a possibility, okay? There's a possibility that we may start a kind of men's group. And I know the ladies, you might be bummed out because we got a lot of the ladies tuning in right now. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. Tons and tons and tons of these ladies, man. And, we always joke around, talking about the housewives. Talking about the housewives that are tuning in. And it was not a joke, though. We have tons of women who love this program. In fact, I would dare to say that our analytics seem to indicate that we're about at a 50-50 split with men and women who tune into this live show. But I would not feel very comfortable. I don't know if it'd be appropriate. It might be scandalous, Maybe we can do some kind of a family group, not necessarily just a men's group. Maybe I can do that too, and just nothing. Not that I'm a guru, not that I'm some kind of oracle, but that I'm in it with everyone too, or a family group, and it would have to be for either members only or at least unlisted. Right, I wouldn't want to make it so that people have to pay, even if it's $5 a month. I wouldn't want to make it so people had to pay for that. I'd want it to be something that we can do, and we could do it maybe once a week or something like that. Get together. It could be an informal live stream. I could have my wife, my kids. It could just around the house. Wouldn't even have to just be in the exact same place. It might be a bunch of fun, man, and make it so it's not. Make it so that it's not just the politics all the time, but it's getting to the personal of who we are. Because ultimately, the truth is, when I started back doing this at all and I was back on a microphone, I didn't know if I'd ever get back on a microphone ever. And when I did, I said, I don't want to get back into doing just the politics and the current events all the time. I didn't just want to do that because to me, it's so easy to get caught in that. And it's just every day something new. Every day, the movie reel is playing. We're all seeing it. We're all entertained. We're all excited and energized and motivated. And then it fades into the past. And it's difficult for current events to stick real deep. And so when I came back, I said, I want to do maybe podcasts and stuff and make it so that the stuff I talk about is hitting deep and it's hitting home. Stuff that's really changing people's lives. And then I went to a live show every day. We're kind of a one-man band here. We're like that Mexican instrument that's got the bells and got a little ball at the bottom and the tambourine with the metal coils that chung, 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 and you kind of bounce it around. It makes some noise. You got strings on it to play. You're the one-man band. You're the one-man mariachi band is what you are. And that's kind of what this show is. We're like a one-man mariachi band. And so it can be really tough to do that. But I said once a week, we can do that. We can do that. We can do things that hit home. About being a husband, about being a wife, about being a mother and a father, about being a daughter and a son, about being a hard worker, okay? And not doing it in a way that's preaching at you because, look, I will show you guys, I will show you examples in my home. I am not always the best example of what I'm trying to talk about. I'm not. I have a lot of things to learn too. I have things that I need to get better at. My wife could tell you that. And in fact, she will. She will tell you that. So we're going to do this, man. It's going to be unlisted though. So you're not going to be able, it's not going to be restreamed like this. So if you want to be involved with that kind of a thing, and you want to be involved in meeting other people who are trying their darndest every single day, other Johnny Q's and Sally Sue's, other deplorables all around the world, in flyover country on Main Street, or however you pronounce Main Street in India or South America. It doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter where you are. You're the ordinary Jane, right? You're the ordinary Jack, the ordinary Jane, and you're trying your best to love God, to love your family, to love your wife and your children, and to love your neighbor. And you're just trying to make it through, and not just to make it through this world, but to make it better than you found it. And that's the mission here, guys. To embrace this idea of never giving up, keep on smiling, and remember you're going to die. So make sure that you make the best of it while you're alive. It's just the way it's got to be. It's just the way it's got to be. All right, a couple more of these. We're out of here. Let's see here. Mukbangs and ASMR seem very sexual in nature to me. Didn't you say that before? Didn't you say that before? Mukbangs. I'm using the phrase mukbang. And there are, I mean, look, even mukbangers, what's his name? Nick Avocado or whatever. That guy's a real sicko. He's messed up, man. That guy's, people should actually pray for that guy. But he talks about that. He talks about that and says that there are people who are in it like that. And there's no, without a doubt, there are some people that's like a kind of a kink to them. I'm talking sitting around and just chilling. I'm not. Look, I ate candy on the screen in the Jaws video. I was eating my dinner in the Jaws video. I didn't even know what mukbang was. I'm just eating. I was hungry, and so I said, "Man, it's Thanksgiving night, dude. Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. We can eat some food. I'm not going to sit there and get all up on the mic and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be making sexy faces as I'm eating, cranberry sauce." Oh, man, dude. Oh, buddy. Yeah, J.N.E. Del Manego, Biden receiving Holy Communion is heresy. Look, it's wicked evil. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that around maybe 10 after 11 or so. So don't go anywhere. I mean, we got a bunch of stories in the first part that are fun stories, funny stories, ways to wake up, ways to start your day. And see, Jesus through Mary, people who care about kids don't murder them in the womb or sexualize them for the sake of ideology. That is one of the best summaries of exactly what is going on. And look, that's something that the Pope ought to just know. The Pope ought to know it. I mean, that's one of those things. And so, it's one of the, it's confusing, isn't it? A little bit, because you're like, wait a second. So you're saying that they wouldn't be over at this specific kind of rally, and our internet's doing that same thing. I don't know what's going on upstairs in my staff. I'm looking down at the internet, and it's going from green to red, and it was glitching yesterday. I hope it doesn't do this very long today. If it does, I'm going to get ticked off. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to get mad, man. I'm going to get mad. But the thing is, he's talking about what protests are where, and they wouldn't be protesting, children with water, which he was wrong about, by the way. I mean, he's just flat out wrong. He's just flat out wrong. In fact, a lot of the people who are affected by lack of water are, in fact, the exact same people who need to go and get it and go to work because they're poor. Because unlike him, they don't have people serving him day in and day out. That's just true. It's like the ultimate LARP sometimes. I'm sorry to say this. I am. I'm sorry to say this. But I feel sometimes as if the papacy in some ways can ultimately be the ultimate LARP. To go in, let me see if I can just drop some of this stuff and see if it works. To go in, and to go into these places where people don't have things, and you go in, and you smile at them, you wave to them, you tell them you love them, you pray for them, and everything else, and then you go back, and you live in a place surrounded by a wall, completely surrounded by guards, fed all the time, on jets all the time, attention always on you, never in need. Never in need, man. And if you are in need, you could snap your fingers and someone's there. And that's, to me, look, there's one sense that is appropriate. And yet to the office. And yet on the other hand, that office should really think about that whenever they decide to shoot down people who literally go to church all the time, some of the most faithful people in the world. Some of the most faithful people in the world, loving God, loving their families, loving their neighbors, and working the darndest they can every single day. It drives me nuts, man. Kind of like this internet problem. And if my staff can hear me, man, they got to shut down everything up there. I don't care what it is. You got to shut it down. Because something's dragging the video. I can't take it, guys. Can't take it. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. We're going to talk about it. Yeah, Madeline says, thank you from Spain. Yes, hey, by the way, I love it. Robbie says, didn't we have popes who fought in battle? Not sure about that. Not sure about that. Consuelo says, Jorge Bergoglio, Francis, does not care about children. He claims to be against abortion. He does not do anything about it. On the contrary, he hangs out with all the abortionists like Bill Gates and George Soros. It's one of those things, man. You know, I'm really grateful that we have a negative chrism and that it doesn't apply to what he does. right? We can look at them and be like, well, yep, they do really dumb stuff. The popes do really stupid stuff sometimes. Janice Farley says 79% of Trump voters said the election was stolen. So many are working and hoping and praying Supreme Court will overturn these fraudulent ballots. It's true. It's true. Yeah, we're going to talk actually about that exact story. Let's see here. Mother Hen says men need support. I agree with that entirely. I agree with that entirely. That, you know, they need support. And I told my buddy, I said, you know, because he said that I was talking to about it. He said that he prays every night for the protection of his children. He said he prays every night for the protection of his children. And I said, that's a really great thing. I said, you need to do that. I said, you need to add to that, right, that God will guide you and your wife, right, to be leaders in this castle. But you, as the husband and father of your home, I said, you are the patriarch of that castle, bro. It is your name. It is that honor. I said, you need to be the leader in that way. And you need to learn what that's like, man. And I wasn't saying that like you need to learn. And I was saying it in a way that was encouraging to him, and in a way that's also applying to me. Ailey, the video quality, just shut everything down up there, because it's down to 142. We're gonna see if that works. I'm just having them shut it all down, man. Everything, because I'm sick and tired of seeing the red square. Sick and tired of it, man. Sick and tired of it. Ah, man. Yeah, so we got a whole bunch of great things. Anyway, so all right, we're moving on, guys. We are moving on to the fun stuff. It's what we got to do. We got to move on. By the way, I'm really grateful you guys are along for the ride. I'm really grateful that you guys are along for the ride, and I hope that you stick around. I hope that you that you share this with your friends, because we really appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you do, every single thing that you do. Everything's turned off on there? Yeah, no one's using anything. Okay. Well, we're going to find out, man. We're doing a test in real time. We're seeing if everybody turns off everything and there's nothing being used, how low will the internet go? Or is that the problem? We've been getting snow. And if it's not the problem, we're calling. Dude, I'm serious. We're going to call the company. We're going to tell them, say, you guys are on the line. If this ain't fixed, we're changing. We're changing providers. Because we do this every day, man. We can't be dealing with that crap. We can't be dealing with that crap, can we, guys? There's just no way, man. It's okay. Canadian Town posts signs reading, "Do not let moose lick your car." What the heck is this, man? Okay, have you guys ever seen a stupider sign? Have you ever seen a dumber sign than this? This is El Stupido. Where is this, man? What state did it say? Oh, Canada. Canada. Is that a problem, man? Is that like one of those things that's like a real issue going on? Where in Canada you got a lot of moose licking? Okay, we have to see this, man. This is over according to UPI. WGN Morning News. Well, let's see what this says, man. Let's see if we can see this.
This morning, on your travels through Canada, a little town in the province of Alberta is warning drivers not to let the local moose.
Okay, I can't play that. I can't play that because it's got that music in the background. These are real subtle ways, man, that they're trying to get it so that we're all demonetized, so that the news companies can make all the money to keep down the man. So, okay, the idea is simple, though. Do they have pictures? We got to see. Otherwise, man, I'm just going to mute this bugger because I don't want it to be demonetized for any other reason than it already is. You know what I mean? Especially over something like that. So, okay, so there's the pictures. Now, is that like a real deal? Is that like the real thing? Okay, yeah, that's all it is. Okay, so that's maybe, I don't know if that's the actual moose. Like maybe it's one moose. Do not let moose lick your car. Okay, so it's not like mooses. They're just talking about, this one. The one in the middle. Apparently in Alberta, there is a moose that is going around licking cars. It's this one. He's got a problem. The other ones, not so much. This bugger, real bad. Real bad. So, okay. Have you guys seen anything dumber than that? I'm serious about that, by the way. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, I've seen some crazy signs. I've seen different signs warning you of things that you're like, dude, what did they put out on it? Did somebody hack that thing? But that, I guess I just didn't even know that it was a problem. I didn't even know that that was a problem. The moose, what are there other animals that go around licking cars? And what's the point of the moose licking a car? Driver slams brand new car into showroom wall. Video's viral. Over 1 million views for this car accident. Okay, well, let's see this bugger. What happened here? Okay, there's the car. This is, all right. Hold on, dude. Hold on, we gotta see this. Where is it here? Oh no, it's on Instagram, so it's got a replay. Dude, no. Okay, I wish I could just rewind that. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could rewind that, kind of like they have on Twitter. Dude, that's insane. Okay. Here we go. One more time. Doesn't it feel sometimes like this is how your day begins? Doesn't it feel like that? That every once in a while, you wake up, you're all excited, brushing your teeth, you're all fresh, you know, everything's feeling fresh and good. You're all vibrant and alive, and you go outside and something really terrible happens right away, or you go to work only to find out you've been fired. Or you go online only to find out that the Pope hates you. And you're like, why? What did I do, man? What did I do to deserve this crap? Now this guy, he can't blame anybody but himself. This dude can't blame anybody but himself. What, actually, was it a guy? Is it a dude? Or is it a chick, man? I don't know, man. I don't want to throw the ladies under the bus, right? But it might be one of the ladies. I don't know, man. We're going to see this again, though. Here we go. Boink. Doink. And everybody's sitting there like, what? Oh, yeah, look at bro up in the front. Hold on. This is not good, guys. Yeah, no, man. No, dude. That's not good. It's a new car, too. Dang, son. He was testing the airbag. Oh, yeah, right. That's what he was saying. Oh, I was testing the airbags. I paid all that money because I just wanted to make sure it's my super sly and extremely expensive way of making sure that the airbags are working properly. And you're like, but you can't drive it now. I know, but at least I know that, you know, if I would have driven it, okay. Fail. That's bad, dude. Oh, it's a Porsche. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. I was like, dude, there was no, yeah, it's a Porsche, guys. It's a Ford. It's a Ford. Is it a Porsche? No, but it's a reminder of the video we showed just yesterday of the Porsche careening over a wall and landing on another car. That was a crazy video, man. If you haven't seen that, dude, it is hilarious. Oh, that's inappropriate. What is that? A bunch of tattooed people? That's on UPI. That was a, man, what was that? Hold on, history. Latest weird news. Latest weird news and viral stories from Lad Bible. So, okay, so I take from there and I add to a new tab. Apologize for that. Let's see. Deer runs wild through assisted living facility in Canada. Dude, guys, what is happening right now in Canada? What is happening, man? I'm serious. What is going on with Canada right now? Because this is bad. And deer's running wild. Of course they are. We've been warning you guys. We've shown video after video of deer who've completely lost it. They've gone bonkers. It's all around us, guys. It's all around us, man. You got to take some of these buggers out. Oh, man, dude, he's only got one antler, too. Look at that. Oh, dude, did they pop that antler out? Oh, dang, son. Okay. Oh, somebody's recording this from across the street. Whoa. Oh, he's in there. He's exercising. He's in the gym. Oh, he was in assisted living facility. Dude, they're going after the elderly, man. All right, well, or, you know, they're trying to think of ways. They're trying to think of ways. They're like, look, a lot of these gyms are closed. Maybe if I go into the assisted living facility, maybe it's not as strict there. Well, we know it's not as strict because they're dumping a whole bunch of people dancing with the Rona in there. And it's like they're telling everybody else, stay away from the Rona. You could end up hurting people, especially people, you know, with diabetes or cancer or AIDS or black and indigenous people of color and all of this. Oh, and I don't know, elderly people. So what do? I don't know. You place them in the assisted living facility. You place the people with COVID in the elder care home, right next to Edith, right next to Edna, right next to Bertha and Star, Elmer and Herbert, all those people, and they're like, what? Oh no, what's going on around here? You're like, it's a conspiracy, guys. I'm serious about that, by the way. I don't mean to downplay that. There's a lot of people who've died. In fact, significant numbers of people who died. So significant that if we incorporated that number every single time we talked about death that's happened from the Rona, it would really change public perception. You'd say, well, it would shift it. It would shift it and say, instead of, oh my gosh, the scary virus is outside the door, waiting for us to come outside, or making sure it's kind of coming in from the woods. It's kind of coming in from the woods, you know, or from the sky around 10 o'clock at night. We better get back inside. Instead of that public perception, maybe people would say, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be sending, you know, so many of the Rona patients over to the assisted living facility. Maybe this deer is trying to take care of some business and saying, look, you shouldn't be doing this. Going in, spying, seeing why. Maybe this deer is colluding. Maybe this deer is colluding with the powers that be that make the decisions over putting Rona in the assisted living facility. We don't know. I don't think we've got enough information to rule any of it out, though. I'm glad you guys tolerate the stupidity of some of these topics. I'm so grateful. There are people, man, who might be tuning in and they're like, what is this guy talking about? It's the Great Animal Uprising 2020. We are the people on it. In fact, we are the people most on this story. I don't think there's any other program, in fact, quite like this one. I don't think there's any other program quite like this one that is on this story with as much frequency and dedication as this show here. We're on it, guys. We're on. Have you guys shared it with your friends, by the way? How serious are you taking the Great Animal Uprising of 2020? I need to know this. I need to know this. Where are the social media posts? Where are the hashtags? I feel like you guys aren't taking it seriously. You got to take it seriously. You got to share it, man. And you got to let everybody know. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? And you're like, oh, dude, you have to know about this. This is it's really important stuff. You know, ends up going viral. Oh, it needs to. It needs to, because they're taking us off guard. I mean, just look, for example, look at that. I don't know, man. That deer didn't seem to take these people off guard. I mean, again, look at this. Blam, blam, blam. All over the place. What would you do? Would you get up near that thing? Like, dang, son. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, and they're trying to get it out. Look at that. They're playing smart. That thing's trying to get them, dude. That thing is straight up trying to get them. Look, it's going after them. Get outside. Go. Oh, there you go. Oh, ah! Man, I'd be afraid that bugger was coming in toward me. The guy recording across the street. Okay, here. This is, I guess, a PSA. When you want to post a reply, but God says don't. Isn't that Doggo the one that smokes the marijuana cigarettes and ends up getting really angry and stuff? Isn't that it? Isn't that Doggo? Yeah, but you got, you know, I know how that feels, man. I know how it feels. Let's see. Groom ruins wedding by kicking wife in face during lap dance. Yeah, I'm not going to see that. Okay, so he's trying to do, yeah, we're not going to watch anything like that. Why would you guys even send me that? We don't do that. Even at weddings, man, you save that for the for the special time. You can do that in the room. Nobody needs to see you doing that. Nobody needs to watch you giving a lap dance to your wife. That's a special secret between you and her. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? Okay, more on a Thanksgiving theme here. Woman shares baffling guide. Okay, I've been looking forward to seeing this here. Just the sound of it is very not good. I'm not very happy about this. Woman shares baffling guide on how to cook Christmas dinner in the dishwasher. Okay, here. We're going to have to see this. Yeah, Christmas dinner tip labeled bizarre by baffled viewers. Let's go ahead and watch this.
Did you know you could cook your veggies in the dishwasher? This is the best holiday dinner hack. Put veggies in mason.
Okay, first of all, let me tell you, I really cannot stand videos where there's no pause. Did you know you can cook this in the dishwasher? It is really great. It is tons of fun and it is delicious and it's the best hack. And you're like, slow down, man. Slow down, dude. Oh, it's a TikTok. No wonder. No wonder why. She's TikToking it up. Money Down says she doesn't really believe this. Money Down says this is all simply to get all of the shares. She's trying to get that fame and the fortune from TikTok. It's what she wants, man. It's what she wants, dude. Oh my gosh, dude. Let's see here.
Jars, add water, and run them in a normal dishwasher cycle. Instant veggies, best cooking hack.
Okay. And look at her face, dude. Look at her face. She's at least really excited about it. Okay, so you put them in water. You put it in water, you put it in a mason jar, you put it in water, then you put it in, and it steams them up and gets them, ready. What the heck is this? I don't even know about what that is. I'm not even going to check it out. Okay, Mystery Surrounds. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys have, by the way? Do you have any cooking hacks that you would like to provide to people in the comments? Because we'll share them. We will share those. Okay, so we got to make sure. Let's see here. Oh man, what the heck? Okay, mystery surrounds monolith discovered in remote Utah during sheep counting operation. Yeah, that is kind of a weird monolith in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere, they're like, oh, yeah, what'd you find while you were out there counting sheep? Oh, I just found a monolith. That's all. A sheep counting crew. This is according to Lad Bible. A sheep counting crew in Utah, USA, were left baffled after stumbling upon a mysterious monolith. The Utah Department of Public Safety helicopter was assisting Utah Division of Wildlife Resource officers as they counted bighorn sheep on Wednesday, when one of the crew spotted something out of, okay, this is a week old. Okay. Spotted, how did I not know about this? Spotted something out of place among the remote terrain below. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Look at this. Let's see.
Captain's log, stardate 11/18/2020. The crew of the Utah DPS helicopter traveled to southern Utah on a mission to count bighorn life forms.
Okay. For one, I didn't know that the state of Utah, right, that their official helicopters look like that. I wasn't sure. I mean, I know they're a little bit weird on some stuff, but dude, come on, man. Come on. It's got a weird flight pattern too, by the way. I don't know if you guys caught that. Kind of looks a little stop action to me. I don't know if I believe this. Is this a documentary, or are these people straight up lying to us?
With wildlife officers.
And he's like, whoa, turn around. And I was like, what? And he's like, there's this thing back there. We got to go look at it.
The crew had spotted an object of unknown origin on the red surface.
Okay, the intrepid explorers go down to investigate the alien life form.
In the middle of the barren desert stood a mysterious
dude, look at that. Look at that. So, okay, so they're flying over and they're like, well, what's this crap? So they go down there and they're checking this bugger out and they find themselves, I don't know, a monolith. It's this monolith. What is it doing there, guys? That's obviously some kind of conspiracy. It's obviously something cultic. And it's not even a question, dude. Look at the placement. You can imagine, can't you? Kind of like that Eyes Wide Shut thing going on, Bohemian Grove kind of thing. This is like the Utah version of Bohemian Grove. And I mean, look, a lot of people in Utah are into that real occultic ritual crap. Mormonism is all sorts of esoteric. It's true, man. All the rituals and stuff, the underwear and everything.
Metal monolith.
I would say it's probably between 10 and 12 feet high.
That's just wild.
We were kind of joking around that if one of us suddenly disappears, then I guess the rest of us make a run for it. So
It's 10 or 12 feet high. He's got to be meaning that it's 10 or 12 feet high, meaning the full length of it. That there's a bunch under the surface as well. But what is it for, man? What is it for, dude? What's going on over there, man?
Pilot Brett Hutchings says it didn't look like it was dropped there. It was firmly planted into the ground.
Of course it wasn't dropped there. Why does anybody even have to speculate that? At that point, if it's like, well, I don't think it was dropped there, that's kind of like saying, yeah, I don't think that somebody shot that out of a bazooka from, 3 states away and it landed that way. It's obvious, man. Look at that bugger. Look at how neatly it's in there. I mean, the probability that thing was just, straight down, blam, straight down, highly unlikely, man. Isn't it, guys? Isn't that just highly unlikely?
we're like thinking, okay, is this something like NASA stuck up there or something? Are they bouncing satellites?
Why use NASA? Why use NASA? Why not just simply say, it's the New World Order? Well, okay, NASA. Yeah, I got you. Okay, I get it. I know how the interplay of these organizations, the web, dude, the web, the interconnected web of the organizations. We got them, dude. We got their number. We know all about it, man. I've seen the documentaries. I have, by the way, probably hundreds of hours. Even after YouTube has made it practically impossible to find many of them. And it's true. Same thing with Google, man. Well, it's own, same parent company. So
It's off it or something.
It seemed less scientific.
Oh, no,
and
that's
more
12 feet tall. Okay, that's 12 feet above. I got you.
I'm assuming it is, some new wave artist or something, or somebody that just is a big 2000.
No, a new wave artist. I think it's a new wave artist that went out there and put the monolith. I don't think so, dude. No. You see what kind of crazy distraction that is? He's trying to deflect. He's like, don't pay much attention. Just, we believe it's some artsy beatnik person putting something out there. Give me a break, bro. All right, moving on. 17-year-old YouTuber crashes a $3.4 million. Wow. Dude, look at this. Look at this. Oh, he says crap happens. Nah, crap happens. Really? His father's one of a kind. How would you pronounce that, Pagani? How would you pronounce that, man? Gage Gillian, the 17-year-old behind it. He crashed one of one. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, I'm not watching this whole thing, obviously.
All right, guys, what's good?
What's good? Yo, guys, what's good? Anyway, how is this guy? I don't know, man. I don't know about this. But his dad is obviously enraged. Yeah, in a YouTube video, he noticed how a low tire pressure warning on the car while taking it out for a drive. He lost control of the hypercar and hit a curb. Wow, dude. Said it was the scariest thing in his life. It was the scariest thing in his life until he got home. And then that was the scariest thing in his life. Dads, what would you do? What would you do? Number one, why would you even have your son looking like this guy? I don't mean to be rude to him, but anybody who looks like that and gets on the screen is like, yo, guys, what's up, guys? And he's doing that, I'd be like, no. You are not driving around that $3.4 million car. It's just not happening, dude. Oh, my gosh, there it is. Oh. And look, anybody squatting down by a car going like, what's up, son? Looking like that? No, you are not driving my car, son. You can go drive the Ford. You can go drive the Ford van that other guy in an earlier video drove out of the lot and slammed into the front. And in fact, it doesn't even have to be fixed. It's probably best. Probably best because you know what's coming, guys. You know what's coming. The guy's probably not being very serious about etiquette when driving. Customs and courtesies when driving. You can tell. You can tell by the fact that he's wearing those pants with the stretchy stuff on the bottom and he's got sandals. At least, in fairness, he's not wearing socks with them. That bothers me very badly. And it says a lot about a man. It says a lot, man, about somebody. But this is going to say a lot about him. But does he even say any? I'm not going to watch to see what he says about his dad. Ailey keeps floating around down here. I don't know exactly what's going on. Yo, Ailey. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Okay, guys, that was perfect, man. That was perfect. It turned out I said we would switch it up at 11:10. I promised that we would, didn't I? Yeah, I promised we would. So, okay, let's get back to this main screen. All right. Remember, guys. Remember, every single weekday, except for tomorrow, right? There's some weekdays where we simply will not be doing it. Okay, we're not gonna be doing anything like this. Actually, hold on, one more thing before we do that. Yeah. So every single weekday, 10 to noon, sometimes 1, sometimes 1:15. Like yesterday, I think we went to like 1:30 or something like that. So it kind of depends on how long I want to go. If I want to go for a very, very, very long time, that's just the way that's got to be. And so I have the luxury to do that. I can make the show as short or as long as I want. But if you love the show, and I hope that you do, I hope that you share it with your friends, okay? Make sure to share it. And make sure to go to paleocratdiaries.com and check out our Connect page. You can connect with us. It's got our email. It's even got phone numbers, apparently. I didn't know. So if you want to text, you want to call, I guess I can't stop that. Okay, it's going to happen. Internet's forever kind of thing. And of course, we have our membership page there, $5 a month. And remember, every single amount dollar that we get, every penny that we get through our membership, and any donations to this program at all, 100% of that goes to the education of my children. And we're going to play a video here in a minute. Maybe check and see if we can do anything about the internet to keep it from, buffering all the time. While we're away, it gives me a couple minutes break. And allows us to check some stuff in the background as well. But 100% of this goes to our children's education. So before we do the Wolfpack song and move on, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play that. And again, we appreciate everything you guys do. We appreciate all the support that you give us. We appreciate all the shares, all the likes, all the subscriptions. It's been booming. Super excited about all of that. We're grateful for each and every one of you. And we do this show every single day for you. We do it to pump you up, to enforce the idea in your heart and in your mind that through your words, through your thoughts, through your actions and engagements and encounters with other people in this world, you can make a difference. And in fact, you already have, because God made you. You're beautifully and wonderfully made, and you're made for a purpose. There's an end in view. And part of that end is that you will one day die. And we are told to make the best of this. And by make the best of it, we mean to glorify God in all things, subjecting everything unto him, everything. Doesn't matter what sphere, what part of life. There is no separation of God and world in this way. That's a secularist scheme. It's a bunch of garbage. And it ain't happening. It ain't flying on our show because we believe it should apply to everything. And we do this. We show how it applies, kingdom principles and the blueprint that God has given for society at large, for the world at large, to show his glory through all things, subjecting them to Christ the King until the last thing left is death. That we believe that is at our disposal and that it is our job and it is our honor and privilege to put that into action in small ways and in big ways. Small ways through our life, through what we do, through what we say, sometimes through what we do not do, sometimes through what we do not say, but through our own life, the life of our family, the life of our church, and expanding out all the way through city, state, nation, and world. We believe it, guys. We believe it with all of our heart. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to play this. We are going to play this in... Okay, yeah, we're going to play this right now, and we hope that you enjoy it. Let's see, make sure that it's here. This is the video. I've been playing it all week long, okay? In fact, I may have been playing it now for 2 weeks. I play it every day. I'm not paid to do this. In fact, I lose money by playing this because it's got a song that every day it's a copyright. There's a copyright claim on the video. They say you can't monetize it. Any monetization on the video ends up benefiting the people who made the song. But I count it anyway and say, look, it's okay. It's okay because it is such a great video in explaining not just my kid's school, but also kind of the heart of the message that I've just said, the heart of this show, and what this show is trying to get out there to people, to everyday folks, and that they can see that there is hope, and they can see that there is dignity and there is modesty, that there is wisdom, truth, justice, that these things are here now, and we can bring them within ourselves and flesh them out. It's possible because I see it every single day at my children's school and at our church and in our home now, in all of that, to an imperfect degree, but to a profound degree. And so I hope you enjoy this video. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
You see me in my uniform, and you think I'm going to school.
You think I'm studying, doing my homework, practicing my Latin. You're not completely wrong. The truth is this: what looks like an academy is in fact where I am learning to dig deep.
To search with an attentive heart what all men seek, but few can name.
Wisdom, knowledge, it's the fountain of life and holiness. A sacred temple, the very house of God and gate of heaven.
What I seek, what I have learned to desire, is the desire of the everlasting hills. I am looking to lose myself in the sacred heart of Jesus.
It may look like I'm going to school, but in truth, I am learning to chase after my Savior, the King and center of all hearts.
And I will not rest
until I take hold of him,
who has already taken hold of me.
We will find a way. We will find a way.
Thank you, God. Give him glory today, everybody. His is the power. His is the authority in heaven and on earth. We are his people in this world. We give him everything we got every single day. In our work and in our homes. In our lives. In our lives. I love that video. And one of my favorite parts, I love the entire thing. But one of my favorite parts of that is the idea when it says, people think I'm doing my homework. People think I'm just studying Latin, but I'm not. I'm pursuing Christ. I'm trying to take a hold of him who has taken hold of me. That's what this show is. It might look like I'm just joking around and having fun. It might look like I'm being silly, and I am. It might look like I'm just going off the handle and talking about these things, but I'm trying every single day. I told my buddy this last night, man. He's a guy, he's working, you know, putting the old elbow grease every single day. Down to the grindstone, man. He's every single day waking up early, doesn't always want to. Doesn't necessarily love the job he's doing. It's not what he thought he'd be doing. It's not his dream and his vision in his life. But he's doing it every single day. And I sit there and I say, I have a privilege, in fact. It's a luxury, in fact, that I'm able to do what I love to do. Not just what I love to do, but what through prayer and discernment have said, God, I truly believe, analyzing gifts and talents, laying it on the line. What can I do to use the gifts and talents that you've given me? And in such a way that I refuse to hide this light under a bushel. I refuse, man. What can I do? And so I give it everything I've got. I joke around straight to the dome. This is high octane. And it is in part because when I turn this off and my work day is done, a lot of you guys, you're not even close to being done. And you're doing stuff, you know, and I say, that's why I'm giving you everything I've got every single day, because I want you to have that. I want you to be inspired. Not just educated, not just information in the brain, not just bellies full, a belly full of laughs. All of that's important. But something that's deep within you. Something that's deep within you that says, I can take this to everywhere else I go throughout my day. To inspire you to be the best you can be no matter where you are. And to use your gifts and talents. If you're stuck in that job and you're in a job you don't necessarily like, but you got to do it, make it the best you can. Make it the best you can. Think of ways that you can bring your dream and your vision to fruition in your life. Plot it out. Think it through. It might take time. But no matter what, I told my friend, I said, look, if you don't do that, and let's say you live an average life, right? You live until your late 70s, whatever. You go through, and I said that day will come. I said if you made a 5-year plan, and you worked on it every day for 5 years, you made a 2-month plan, you made a 1-week plan. Doesn't matter. You make a plan. If you don't do it, then that week is going to come, and that week is going to go. And how are you in any way better off for it? So if you can think of a way to make sure that whether it's your job, whether it's your family, whether it's your marriage, whether it's with your kids, your church, your citizenship, your patriotism, whatever it is in your life, if you can figure out how can I make it even better than it is right now, and go to the foot of the cross about it. Go to the foot of the cross about it. And people, look, there are individuals who can complain right now and say, look, your show's turned really religious. Because when I started, it wasn't as much of an emphasis on it. And I remember when that happened. I remember the change. I remember when it was a homily. It was a homily. And our priest was up there and he was talking about a verse from the Bible, one of the epistles, about how we're living in evil days. And I read from it on the show. I think it was the first time that I'd ever read. I had Ailey grab my missal from upstairs. I have one from the 1950s that I used, given to me by a priest. And I opened it up and I read that passage and I teared up, man. I said, because we're living in evil days and we must sing. We must sing canticles. We must sing new songs, right? And to encourage each other. And I thought about it, and then Christ the King. To sit there and say, Christ the King. And all of these things that started layering on. And I said, we live in evil times and it's easy for people to just, go about their day and it just turns into a blur and everything's a blur. And I said, no more, man, no more. And we need to emphasize this. And so I would say sorry, but I'm not apologizing. I am not apologizing. And I stand by the idea that, look, if you, and I'll say it again, it might not be the last time even on this show. If you're tuning in right now and you have never, ever dedicated your life to God, if you have never, or you were born, maybe raised in church, maybe you converted when you were younger and you fell away and you found yourself in a really hard place in this life, and you're mad at God, or you're questioning God, or you're questioning existence, you're questioning yourself. I've been there in all of those places. I have been there myself. I have a testimony on Meaning of Catholic that you can see. It's embarrassing, the kind of crazy things that I've been through in my life, but I can tell you now, on the other side of those experiences, I can tell you I have been there, and I can reach out my hand and say, brother, sister, grab a hold. Christ loves you. Jesus loves you, no matter what you've done, no matter where you are. And we need to say this, especially now, because the truth is we've always needed to, but especially now. And the reason why is because, as I've said before, we are at a crisis point of civilizational conflict. We're at a place where civilizational paradigms are clashing so badly because they are utterly incompatible. They're incompatible. They don't work together anymore. They don't jive together. It's oil and water. And we've lost any form of cohesion at all. And so what ends up happening? Well, you're going to have one of two things. And this is just a historical analysis of this, to say, you look in history, anytime this happens, and it's happened many times, there's two ways of going about it. In America specific, let's just take America. There's two ways of going about it. You're either going to have a civil war, or you're going to have a great awakening. And I'm on the side of the Great Awakening to say, I have to believe that we need to pray and get on our knees and cry out to heaven and repent for the sins that we've committed, not only as individuals, but as churches and as an entire nation. Our laws, the kind of depravity that we've allowed to happen. It must be put to an end. And this is where it gets crazier, because you're going to have, even in the direction of a war where it's a civil war, the side that stands for tradition, that side inevitably will have what we're experiencing here. A greater awakening to what they're holding on to, a greater urgency. So that's not even an assurance that it's going to be able to prevent that clash. But I'm giving it every single day. I'm giving it everything I got, guys. And I know that you are too. I know that you are too. So, all right, before we move on, before we even get to these comments, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. But before we do, you got to raise that glass real high, folks. You got to raise that glass real high, because we are going to dedicate the rest of this day to giving it our absolute best, to howling at the sun, to howling at the heavens, because we're a wolf pack and we are resolved deep in our heart to never give up, to keep on smiling, and to memento mori, to remember death, because we'll one day die. And these three things put together give us this supercharge every single day to give it our absolute best for God, for family, and for country. So here we go. We got to dance with our little buddies, and some adults, So here we go. Raise that glass high. Yeah. I don't care if you got water. It's okay. I'll forgive you today. But you got to rock. I don't care where you are right now. In your car, at work, at school. Raise it high and howl at the sun. Here we go. Come on. Yeah. Look at that. Look at it. Go. Woo. Here we go. Thank you, God. Hallelujah. Come on. Today is the day the Lord has made. He's rejoicing. He's rejoicing. He's glad in it. Oh, man. He is glad in it, isn't he? All right, to the comment section. I love you guys, man. I do. I love the Wolfpack. You guys pump me up, man. You guys pump me up. Yes, Adam says, oh, by the way, just so you guys know, the audio glitching, it's happening. I know it's happening. And I apologize for it happening. If you close your eyes, I've heard that the audio remains good. But we think we figured it out. We actually, the staff here, okay, Alien, the staff, I think she had Wolfgang on it. I think she gave that plastic toy phone that we've got. I think she gave that to him. He made sure to hit the right button, contacted the higher ups at the internet company, and they're on it. And what it is it's the, what is it, connector relayer or whatever that I have down here. It's an extension. And they said that the extension that we have is an older extension and that there were many issues with that extension, including the idea that it was real sketchy when it comes to even the Ethernet cord. And maybe specifically the Ethernet cord, and that they've updated it, I think probably multiple times, but she already bought it. It's already paid for, guys. So it is coming. So when it comes, we're going to have way more power, way more kilobytes per second, cranking through the internet, making sure that you have the best quality, the best streaming quality you can possibly get, because I hate the glitches. And the glitches are always terrible. It never stops at the right moment when you smile and you're like, hey, and you look really good or anything like that. It's always when you're looking dumb. You're blinking or your face is making some distorted thing, and it just happens. Oh, coincidentally, it just happens to do that. Oh, man. Shirley says they're not wanting you to reach out with truth, so they're going to mess with you with your site. Hey, it's true, man. They're going to, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of other websites that talk, in fact, ones that we reference many times on the show. They're constantly being played around with. Let's see here. Chimindo says LeBron James and other mega millionaires from NBA have prayer sessions with Pope to praise Chinese Communist government and condemn traditional Christians in China because, reasons. And not only did they do that, let me just say this. People who don't know this, we're going to talk about it here in a moment. The Pope came after people who are protesting lockdowns. And they're protesting these restrictions and saying, you got to cut it out. He lashed out. We're going to talk about that topic. But what's remarkable is that he had a whole bunch of the commie NBA guys in there, the critical race theorist NBA guys in there. By the way, I'm reading a book. We'll go through critical race theory. I'll maybe even go chapter by chapter through this book. It's cuckoo. It's crazier. It's crazier than I've even let off a little bit. And it's just anathema. I mean, the stuff is, where it comes from, the aims it has, the philosophical foundations that it rests upon. And I'm not saying every single thing is bad. I am saying that it's got a lot of bad to it. And it's one of those things that it's almost like the exact opposite of the claim when people say, well, it's a few bad apples. It's kind of like critical theory and critical race theory and all of this, that it kind of has, maybe a few good, raspberries. It has a few good, you don't even want to say apple. I mean, it's not even nearly as big of a fruit as that. But it does have some things. It does have some things. But the thing is that the NBA players, they got to go hang out with the Pope. And you want to know what they didn't do? They didn't social distance, and they weren't wearing masks. It's amazing. Isn't it amazing, guys? Well, no, I'm so sorry. It would be amazing if it wasn't so freaking predictable. It drives me nuts, man. It drives me nuts. I hate saying this. Look, anybody who tuned in yesterday, you guys know, I don't like going against the hierarchy. I know a lot of people, man, that's just their shtick. That's all they do every single day. They just go and they bash the bishops. They bash the priests. They bash the Pope every single day. I don't do that. So I hope that when I do come out and I say something, I hope, number one, you forgive me for the fire. Number two, I hope you realize that it's one that's relatively contained. And that I'm trying to even be respectful when I'm really ticked off. Man. Teresa Carl says, we used to have a wonderful priest who was raised Methodist. He was raised in Detroit, a very dark black man with the gentleness of a dove, and yet made of steel. He fit right in, was loved. Yes, because, you know what? Because the Christian religion, regardless of what secular people say, and secular people need to realize this, they need to accept this, is that secularism is like a white person cult. There's only a certain demographic that really gets into that. It's predominantly white people. It's predominantly white people, and that's it. Okay? And so, that's why they've had a major crisis in secular communities to be like, man, we need to realize we've done a bad job of reaching out to people of color and all of this stuff. And they don't even realize that in putting together plans on how to do that for outreach for people like that, number one, they're really showing their hand on the whole, we rely on deconversion because we're aborting all our kids and contracepting our kids out of existence. But more than that they're being hypocritical on the idea that so many of them have embraced that white-splaining is bad. They don't even reflect on the idea that, wow, even doing that is, in fact, kind of a double-edged sword because they're falling on it. They're falling on it and saying, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm white-splaining to a bunch of black people on why being religious is so bad. It's a wigwam of contradictions, man. It's a wigwam of contradictions, dude. Shirley asks about the moose, says maybe it's a drunk moose called Moose, or a drunk guy called Moose. Yeah, maybe it's like a small town, right? It's a small town over there. And so, they're going to be like, well, it's a guy named Moose. It was a movie. What was the movie with the dude named Moose, man? What was that? That's driving me nuts. I should know that. Like, really, I have a show where we talk about movies and stuff. If you aren't following that, man, it's Paleo Cheese. You got it. Cheese with a Z. Cheese with a Z. Paleo Cheese Podcast. You can look up Jeremiah Bannister, Chad Lutsky. Super great show. Have a bunch of fun. A lot of interviews. Even interviewed, we've interviewed some pretty big people, but I think one of my favorite, of the big guys, of the big names, I think one of my favorite was Joe Lansdale. He was a whole bunch of fun, man. And of course, we interviewed the the author of Bird Box, the movie that was turned into the major Netflix original movie hit, right? Award-winning movie with Sandra Bullock. And so got to interview him. That was a whole bunch of fun because we actually talked about this movie from Estonia called November. It's a really, really fascinating movie. It's in black and white and just, it's bizarre. It's one of those kind of weird ones, but just beautiful. Every scene is just picturesque. So it's a really good time. Let's see here. Let me see. James says, Canada is the Florida of the North. Oh, and about the idea that we had popes that went into battle, apparently we certainly did. In fact, they led the armies and made agreements with the enemy. We're not there anymore, man. We're not there anymore. We're not there anymore, though. Even with generals and stuff like that, you know, they've decided they stick behind. I think that I'd like to maybe sometime talk about the way that impacts, war, like war theory, stuff like that. And even how we treat and policies on how we treat enlisted soldiers and sailors and stuff like that. Let's see. David says, I lived 8 years in Syria on mission, 2010 to 2018. On the night Benedict the 16th resigned, I had a dream that the next pope would be secretly a woman and a multi-headed beast. Well, you know, it's one of those things. I mean, look, dreams are dreams, you know, and I don't want to discount dreams, but we always have to be skeptical. You know, we always have to be skeptical, especially, you know, I don't know. I don't think Google's facial recognition software has ever, you know, indicated that Pope Francis is a woman, at least not in the same way that it has Michelle Obama as a man. That's a true statement. I'm not being rude. I'm not going down that road. Not here anyway. Not here and now. You want to talk about that topic? You know, but the thing is that their recognition software that they've got, they take profiles of people and they check them out and say, well, is this a man? Is this a woman? And you know, it rightly says that people like Caitlyn Jenner would be a man, okay, and other people who are transgender would be men. But then it, you know, also has Michelle Obama. I was asked, you're a Michigander, right? When you see a deer like that, don't you want to hunt it? I hear you guys love hunting up there. We do, man. We actually have we have an event every year at our parish that it's for huntsmen, dude. It's got all sorts of gear, man, bows and arrows and guns and all sorts of chili cook-off. It's super amazing. All the guys like, and they have all these interesting stews as well, you know, and different animals that normally people wouldn't think you eat. And so we go ahead and we do it and things like that. But in fairness, I gotta say something, man. I gotta say something. I have sadly killed multiple animals, but only with a car. And not on purpose. I'm not like driving around like, I'm going to get you, bugger. Driving around, I'm going to get this deer going through some cornfields. Not doing that, okay? Not doing that. But I've never actually been hunting. I've shot many guns. I was expert qualified on a 9mm as well as an M60. So I have my ribbon. To this day, I like, you know, I've got a little chest, right? A little box, cool box that has keepsakes and stuff, and I've got that on there. Let's see here. You know, but I've never been hunting, man. I've never been hunting, and I'd love to get around that and to do that. I've actually spoken with some guys who would like to take me out, but I'd like to do some bow hunting, man, to be honest. I'd like to do some bow hunting. See, Michael says, government psyop to normalize fake alien attack that will try to discredit the illumination of conscience that's coming. What is this all about? Oh, okay, the psyop is the Utah monolith. I got you, man. Jim Rat single pointer. What? You got to give the Mormons some props. They have Utah on lock when it comes to every political possession in that state. I wish the Catholics had the same. Look, man, I'd be fine if just Trinitarian, traditional Christian people were that way. You know? Jenny DeYoung says, what a doofus. Not entirely sure if she's talking about me. I hope not, man. I hope Jenny. I think we've talked before. I don't know if Jenny's talking about me. I hope not. People say they hate socks with sandals. Yeah, definitely. You hate people with socks with sandals. You're like, dude, I don't like you. I don't like you, dude. You're done, man. Brian says, not commenting a lot today, getting a turkey in the smoker for tomorrow. Dude, it's okay. I'm glad you're just tuned in. And share it with your friends and tell them to comment, man. Jorge says, why is Pope Francis belittling those of us who don't believe in this pandemic? You know, that's something we're actually going to talk about. And Jorge also says, thank you, Jeremiah, for giving us hope. We need to hear this message of goodness, kindness, and purity. Yeah. We need it, dude. We need it. And no, by the way, troll whoever over there on Twitch, I don't want to buy followers. Don't you hate that crap? Don't you hate that crap? Yeah. I'm really grateful, by the way, for all you guys. Okay, moving on. Here we go. Gotta get on to the stories. Breaking, D.C. Archbishop affirms that he will give Holy Communion to pro-abortion Joe Biden. Here's the deal, man. And this is over by Michael Haynes over at LifeSite News. I don't know about that. I don't know about that profile picture there, Michael. You can do better than that, buddy. You can do better. You can do better than that, man. Come on, dude. Come on, man. You look like a handsome guy. You look like a handsome guy. You need a different picture. You know, unless you're doing that because you don't have any teeth, dude. And in that case, you're good. we support you, man. I hope you tune in, man. We really like your stuff. Okay. Archbishop Wilton D. Gregory of Washington, D.C., affirmed he will not deny giving Holy Communion to pro-abortion former Vice President Joe Biden, saying he hopes for a conversational relationship. You know, you can have a conversational relationship with a lot of people who you would not give communion to. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people may not know this. We have people tuning in from all different religious backgrounds and stuff, even people who are not religious. You know, that it's true. You know, and so the thing is, in Catholicism, there are certain rules about communion. You know, if you're in a state of mortal sin, or if you're a raging heretic, or if you are not Catholic, you are not taking communion. Okay? It's fenced in this way. And bishops and priests have discretion on this. They can say, look, you know, if this person, well, no, they're supposed to be holding the line. This is what it is. They're supposed to be holding the line and to say, look, you've got people out there. You got Biden talking about, you know, the woman's choice, no matter at what term. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Where does he stand, by the way, on what to do if and when? What does he say, by the way, if and when a baby is born, but just so happens to, you know, have been it was intended to be aborted, but didn't die? What do? You pull a Terry Schiavo on that crap? Is that what it is? Is that where he stands on it? You know, what do you do? So he stands that way on abortion, but it's not just that. He also believes in all slicey dicey for little boys' penises. Sorry to say it that way. I'm trying to be proper about it. You know, I could have used other words, but it's wee, okay? But I'm trying to make it serious. I mean, look, there are certain words you use. And he believes in cutting the penises off of boys. 8-year-old boys. That was the question. An 8-year-old boy says, Mom, I've been playing video game in the brain. Dungeons and Dragons in the brain. And I believe that I am a girl. What should you do? And Joe Biden says, well, you know, cut off his penis. If you're a little girl, you know, you're a teenage girl, and you are a tomboy, and people are like, hey, I think you're a boy. And she starts wondering, maybe I'm a boy. What should you do? I don't know, do slicey dicey. Take out her breasts. Make it impossible, by the way, for her to breastfeed for the rest of her life. It's satanic, dude. And that's the thing. You're actually given a demon. You're given a demon. At that point, it's demonic. And at his level of power, with the level of lies and corruption that man is involved with, unquestionably demonic. So, I mean, if this bishop, and he's the head of the USCCB, okay, and so he's going to go ahead, he's going to be given some communion. He's going to be given some communion to some demons. Referring to his relationship with Biden, the Archbishop said, I hope it's a real dialogue, because I think that's the mantra of Pope Francis, that we should be a church in dialogue. Yeah, again, you can be in dialogue. It makes no sense to say, we're in dialogue, here's some communion. Why skip over the breaking bread? Why do you can break bread that hasn't been consecrated, right? Couldn't you sit down for some wine and say, hey, why are you such a demonic piece of crap? Why don't you take a knee for Jesus Christ? Why are you out there scandalizing the daylights out of people every single day? Why are you supporting a genocide against babies and innocents? Why are you down with that? Why do you want? Why are you okay? And why do you give encouragement to people who believe in genital mutilation? Why are you doing that, dude? And provide reasons from our Catholic tradition that says not only this is what we believe, but you, as a person claiming to be Catholic and wanting communion, you not only should know, but you must know. This Archbishop, man, he is assisting. He is assisting Biden on a slippery slope straight to hell. He is. Man, this sucks, man. Let's see if I can get this thing over. There we go. I was putting it the wrong way. I kept scooching it over the wrong way. I'm like, why am I getting out of screen? But he is, man. This guy's like, look, oh, you want a fast track to the lake of fire? I got you. I got you covered. We're going to give you communion, and we're going to just say that we're in dialogue together. It's kind of like saying, you should maybe find a mate. Okay, well, how do you do it? Let's just go and have intercourse with people. What? What? You skipped over the whole process, by the way, of taking the knee. You've skipped over the process of making those vows. And you've said, let's go straight to the you know what. This guy's so out of whack, man. Archbishop Gregory, you are out of whack. I'm sorry to say that. I go back and test me on this. Have I made it a habit to go after the hierarchy? Have I made it a habit of defending the hierarchy when they're not acting crazy? I think you'll find the answer is yes. And look, I have to remind everybody. I'll say it here in a second here. So he says it's part of his pastoral duty to do this, to engage and to be in dialogue with them, even in those areas where we obviously have some differences, over the mutilation of boys' penises. I have some differences over whether or not you should cut off little Billy's penis. And whether or not you should, give him hormones so that he can grow some boobs. It's grotesque, man. It's grotesque. I have a little bit of disagreements over whether or not you should, chop into pieces babies still inside the womb and then, inject poison and stuff and suck them out through a little vacuum and then sell them. Those aren't just differences. Those are massive, wicked, diabolical things. We're not talking chocolate versus vanilla. It's bullcrap, man. The Archbishop called for the, quote, capacity to have civil disagreements. Serious disagreements, really pointed ones. Hey, look, yeah, that's true. But done in such a way that the focus is on the argument, not on the demonization of the people with whom we disagree. That would normally be true. That would normally be true. But you have to be able to demonize things that are demonic. What do you call the slaughter of innocent babies? Is that not demonic? What's the history of that? Let's talk about it, Archbishop Gregory. Why don't you tell us what the Bible says when people would sacrifice their children? Were they doing it, maybe they were doing it because they didn't have enough money. Maybe they were doing it because they had a vision for their own life, like Stevie Nicks and others that said, I wanted to do other things in my life, or I wasn't in the right place. Maybe that's why they chopped up their kids in the groves. Maybe that's why they cut them in half and chucked their bodies into the river. Maybe that's why they threw them into the furnace. Maybe that's why. But in each and every one of those instances, whether it's the grove, whether it's the river, whether it's the furnace, doesn't matter. We're talking straight up demons. Straight up demons. Because ultimately we have to look at this and say, What else would inspire such diabolical things? And worse yet, what would it take, right, for a person in high position of power to be consumed for whatever reason, to be consumed in such a way that they not only say that it's okay, but in fact fight for it as if it's a good. Demons. And you know what's crazy? I believe this is the same one. Remember the situation, and I know that you do. You know, people who watch this show, you guys got good memories. Remember when Donald Trump said that Maryland was infested with rats and stuff and rodents? Remember that? I believe it was Archbishop Gregory. That and the USCCB that went out and were talking about how what Trump said was racist. And they just jumped the gun on that. And that those words being used, that those words to describe the situation where a lot of black people live, it's all dog whistle land. They were the people hearing the dog whistles all the time. And they said it like the same day. They made sure they were out there and they were going to condemn that statement. I replied the next day and I shared links with timestamps to them, to videos done by Paul Joseph Watson and Mark Dice, which is hilarious that I can use people like Mark Dice and Paul Joseph Watson. I can use videos by them where it's just a mockery of fake news to show how fake and how stupid these people are, where if they would have waited, if the USCCB would have just simply waited, they could have seen that there were tons and tons of people, white, black, yellow, doesn't matter, brown, all sorts of people using that exact same language when talking about Maryland, specifically Baltimore. In fact, the black man who was overseeing, he was the oh man, what's his name? It's killing me here, right? Representative overseeing Baltimore. Okay, that individual used the exact same words multiple times. Local commissioners, exact same words, multiple times, over the exact same reason. Did they ever come out and say, I can't believe you? I can't believe that you would go out and say that just like Donald Trump years before. Is that the case? Did they ever do that? No. Did they ever take it back? No. Because deep down inside, these people, and you can tell by their actions, you can tell by what they do and what they do not do, what they say and what they do not say, and over and over again, these leaders of the USCCB, people like Archbishop Gregory, over and over again, show their true colors as being no different on the partisan side of that divide with people like Biden. Of course they want dialogue. They probably voted for him. Because deep down inside, you know, I can't say what's deep down inside with him. I don't know. But I can say he's a sellout. I can say you're a sellout. You act like a sellout. You talk like a sellout. You talk like some knee-jerk enthusiast that you have the inability to just wait a moment. That you're no different. You're like a mockingbird. No different. It's like you guys have CNN on the brain. MSNBC being pumped in your veins every single day. It's all you do. It's nuts, man. And people lose respect. Look, people like me, it's hard for me. I actually have to pray to continue respecting people like you. People who watch this show, everyday people, we have to pray every single day that frustration inside of us doesn't morph into this bitter hatred. And you aren't helping. You scandalize us every day. You scandalize the people of God every single day. Don't you see it? Don't you care? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just giving up. Maybe you learned some amazing revelation. You had a good trip when you went over to some Episcopalian coexist crap going on. You know, you're like, man, back in the day, I remember, man, that coexist session that I had over there with the Episcopalians was real powerful. I think that's the model going forward. It's really going to work out. And maybe you just didn't care to go back and check out the numbers and to watch as their church is not only dying, but contracepting themselves out of existence. It's a punishment of God, by the way. It's a curse. David says, first time listening to the show, liking what I'm hearing. I hope you love it, dude. And if you came on earlier in the show, you might be like, oh man, this guy's talking about Animal Uprising 2020 and deer colluding with COVID people. Hey, you might be like, what's going on with this guy? We have a fun time in the first hour. But after that, dude, it's on like Donkey Kong, brother. It's on like Donkey Kong every single Monday through Friday, except for tomorrow. We're having tomorrow night. We're having our Thanksgiving special at night, 9 o'clock p.m., and you can only find that link. It's not going to go on regular channels. You can only find that link over at paleocratdiaries.com. So, yeah. I'm glad people are standing up. Bishop Strickland says the USCCB does not speak for me in congratulating Joe Biden. In fact, it doesn't speak for every bishop either. It's true. It's true. And you know what? The thing is, doesn't speak for me. It does not speak for me. I can look at that and say, oh, there are some things that, okay, I see. I got you. But I'm not sitting there going to their site saying, give me more of that, community organizer crap. Give me more of that Saul Alinsky crap. You go to their website, man, it's what it is, dude. These are Alinskyites. So many of them are Alinskyites, the people who found their way into power. These are Soros types. It's a freaking joke, man. In fact, no, let me take it back. It's one of these, like, if you don't laugh, you cry. I know I say it's a freaking joke. It's not. In fact, that is a curse. They are a curse on our house. They are. They're a curse, man. They've infiltrated. It was a long con. It was a long time coming. Commies and all sorts of perverts. Long time coming. And the people in the day, we had people standing at watch, man, or people on the watchtower trying to keep everything sane. But the truth is, more and more and more of them started to fall away. More and more and more of them started to die. And it's not as if this is just the product of a change in the liturgy, because the change in the liturgy is itself a product of it. It just gave it supercharge. Only 3% of Trump voters, and you can take this in the context of what we're saying, how many Catholics voted for Donald Trump? And of those Catholics, they voted for Donald Trump, and all those Christians who voted for Donald Trump, and all those, and look, it wasn't only Christians and people like that. All sorts of different people voted for Donald Trump. Only 3% of them believe that Joe Biden legitimately won. 72% say they would leave the GOP for a Trump party. Dude, bam. That right there might, in fact, be one of the greatest things I've ever heard. I've talked for a long time about the idea of a more open party system. This idea, look, and I understand the benefits, the pros and cons of two parties. I get it. But I also believe that they've made it in such a way that they've the con has taken over. The pros, the pros that go along with that system, they're pretty far down. And the cons have risen up real high and kind of solidified their place, which is why we talk about a uniparty, which is why Donald Trump won. Because people who were not heard, because people who were mocked and marginalized, maligned, how many of you guys, man, what was it like? How did you feel all these years? Did people even take you seriously? Every time when you saw John McCain or Bob Dole on that stage, you saw, a Mitt Romney on that stage or a Jeb Bush on that stage, a Chris Christie, if you saw any of these people, were you ever actually excited? Did you ever truly in your heart say, that person actually reflects my values? That person is going to restore the republic. Or did you kind of feel, in a way, that the lesser of two evils is all you got to hope for? That's the end of that debate. There's nothing more. It's just simply that. Because no matter what, they were always evil. No matter what. And that it's kind of almost like, well, the Democrats are flying in a car over the cliff, a clown car at like 100 miles an hour. You know, if I vote for the Republican, at least we're going to go over 80. So it'll be like 80, you know, we're going to go over the cliff and we're only going 80. And every once in a while, they'll pump fake the brakes. Did you feel that way? And when you saw Donald Trump come down that escalator, or you saw the way he talked about that wall, or you saw the way that he talked about bringing our boys and girls home from overseas and that we shouldn't go out into those places, or when he talked about defending Christmas, when he talked about making Christmas great again, and when he talked about the centrality of God, when he talked about those things, what did that do to you? Do you remember? Will you ever forget? I won't. I won't. Yeah. Lynn Wood. Americans will be shocked at the level of pedophilia and satanic worship from past administrations, quote, occupying Oval Office for some periods of years. This is astounding. By the way, do you guys, would you be surprised? I'm not. I'm not. I know a lot of people will. I mean, look, it might be a little surprising to hear specific details. But man, I've been talking, in fact, I don't know if I've ever told you guys this. When I was the chief aide to the founder, John Tomeke, of New Jersey League of American Families, okay, that he was with National Right to Life for a long time, ended up leaving that, and I will talk about his reasons for leaving sometime. It's really applicable even to now. The idea that people are, you know, into the soirees and everything, and sometimes they even sabotage their own things that will benefit the cause. They sabotage for stupid reasons. They did in New Jersey like crazy. And so it's one of those things. And you got to understand how that works. These, you know, not always the most altruistic and sincere and authentic people in the world. They too like power. They too like fame, fortune, and access. They like those things. And it's hard to let those things go, even sometimes needing to sabotage them themselves. But when I was involved with them, I was surprised by the depravity. Because we were in the state capitol every single day. So I'm walking around. I'm chilling. I'm hanging out with big wigs. I'm going to people's mansions, their homes. We're sitting down, colluding, talking about how we're going to advance different causes and everything. But one of the things that I noticed is that even with the people who were on our side, so many of the people on our side, I was like, man, there's some wicked crap going on, man. There's some wickedness going on. And I was blown away by the amount of wickedness going on just in general. And the kind of depravity. And the lies, man, the pageantry of it all, the way that people portray themselves when they're on camera. And it's like, dude, you're a real sicko in private. You're a real sicko in private. What the heck's wrong with you, dude? And he told me. He said, look, he said, the thing is, he said, you want to know what's really going on? You know, big paradigm stuff here, guys. He said, you want to know? I said, of course, man, I want to know. He said, you need to go home. This is back in 2003. He said, you need to go home. And tonight he says, you need to look up Bilderberg Group and Bohemian Grove. It changed my life forever. And this guy, by the way, at one point, if I'm remembering correctly, was rated by different lawmakers and lobby groups and stuff like that as the 6th most powerful lobbyist in the entire state of New Jersey. Major time access, by the way. Died without a penny in his pocket. It was the most sacrificial man I've ever known. Okay. More than that, he was ranked, and I forget if it was the Bar Association, I forget what it was, but it was a quarterly journal or whatever that talks about the most powerful. And yet the thing is you say, man, you know, it's one of those matters where they let you in on this and let you know what's really going on, the facade. A part of that facade was at the time the governor was gay. First thing they ever told me. When I walked in, the very first thing that he ever said, when I walked in, he said, you see that door over there? And it was a door, you had these guards, they are heavily armed. And you go walking over there, and you say, man, what's this? And he said, well, the only person who can go in there is the governor. That's the head of the Department of Homeland Security. He said he's put there by, put there by appointment? Recess appointment or whatever? And so you look at it, and you're like, dude, it's pretty bad. And I said, well, why did he do that? And he said, well, because that's his gay lover. And I'm like, the governor's married, man. He's got kids. And he goes, that's his gay lover in there. And long story short, it was, in fact, his gay lover in there. And when the media found out, when the media told everybody, and people from New Jersey found out about it, everyone was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He came out as a gay American. Now, what is he, Episcopalian priest or some crap? But the thing is like, at that time, the media's like, this is a surprising development. No, it wasn't. They all knew. Which meant that every day they didn't mind peddling that fraud to everybody. They did it with a smile on their face. It was grotesque. And only certain kind of crazies are even able to do that. David McCurtain in the comments says, a lot of anger on here. If people truly believe in Jesus and his power, they would not have such fear and terror in their hearts. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. You have this idea that because someone is angry over something, that they're afraid. Or that terror is in our hearts. Dude, we're victorious people, man. In fact, we're kind of triumphalistic on the show. We're kind of triumphalistic. We are unafraid of this. We're militant. We're marching forward. We're more than conquerors. And so, but do we go off the handle over crap that's super wicked and evil? Yeah. Yeah. Anger, by the way, about mutilating little boys' crotches. Yeah, dude, we're pretty upset about that. Pretty upset and angry over the idea of cutting little babies in the womb into multiple pieces after poisoning them and then sucking them out with a vacuum in order to sell on a market for a bunch of money. Yeah, we're pretty angry about that. The fact that you're not says more about you than it does about us. So, I mean, yeah, you should take a knee for Jesus Christ. You should really take a knee, man. And you should realize that God is not the cotton candy God. And you probably don't believe in the cotton candy God anyway. On the one hand you might, but you also believe in the God that says it's okay to do slicey dicey on little boys' penises. So I mean, hey, just the way that goes. Yeah, the Porto sounds very angry. Again, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. We're talking about serious stuff here. We're talking about serious stuff. And yes, be happy, say your rosary, go to mass and spread the gospel. Dude, we talk about that too. You make it. And see, this is where people like David McCurtain, is it McCurtain? McCurtain? How would you spell that, man? I don't even know yeah. So the thing is, yeah, because I don't even see how you'd pronounce that. So the thing is like, you have people like him. We have people like this every once in a while. That they come in and they say that like for example, the person yesterday when we talked about Transhood, the documentary, and there was a person that said, yeah, well, all these parents were upset that we're forcing this trans crap down people's throats, and we're bringing in a choir and doing a play that's telling everybody to accept everybody no matter what. And the response was, yeah, well, it is unconditional love, and that's the center and heart of your gospel, right? And it's like, no. No, it's why we're not universalists, man. It's why you're not universalist. You say, okay, there are expectations of you. You have to die to yourself in baptism. You need to take a knee for Jesus. You need to go and repent. There are expectations upon you, ranging from mild expectations all the way to grave. And so these people, they take a caricature, like David here. He takes a caricature of Christianity and says, it's just about praying the rosary. It's just about going to mass. It's just about doing this. For one, no saint has taught this. No saint has taught that that's all you need to worry about. Because they also talked about what you do with your life as a person who's not part of holy orders. If you don't have holy orders, okay, Jose Maria Escriva does a great job of talking about this. St. Josemaria talks about this, about the apostolate, about the vocation that you have, and that in fact is the liturgy that you're providing to God every single day, and those gifts and talents that he's given you, and the centrality of Christ on that. Now, you still have the centrality of the Mass. You still have the centrality of the gospel. You still have prayer, even mental prayer is part of that. Same thing with Alphonsus Liguori. But the idea that everybody, that's all you're supposed to do, dude, that's like the worst reservation mentality I've ever heard in my life. It is. You're a separatist, and Catholicism and the gospel, in fact, is not a separatist thing. It's not a separatist thing. That's why it says to be in the world, but not of the world. And that's why it says that the leaven will permeate the entire batch. That's why it says that this small little mustard seed is going to get super duper big and be the biggest, and you're going to have all these birds of the air coming and making their homes in there. And that's why you have the kingdom, the New Jerusalem. You have this kingdom where kings and princes, people of power and authority around the world, going in and out of its gates, bringing its gifts. And it's why we need to subject all things to Jesus Christ. Again, dude, we've got it, bro. We have got it. So, I mean, you've got to do better than that. You've got to do better than that. Oh, by the way, it's the same guy says abortion is between a person and God. Number one, that's like saying murder is between a person and God. That's true on one level because that's a mortal sin. It's a mortal sin. And anyone who commits abortion is right away, it's excommunicated. Same way if you're a Freemason. Same way if you're a Freemason, because it's typically a private affair. And so it doesn't require any kind of verdict from the hierarchy. It's automatic between God and you because God sees what you do in private. But that's kind of like saying if you go ahead and you commit murder, that's between you and God. Well, it is. You will be punished for that. There is a punishment for that. At the same time, it's also, between a person and a person. And it's also involving things that would, have to do with the law. So, dude, you're wasting my time, dude. Get better at this. Get better at this, dude. No Way says abortion is murder. Yes, man, totally. Totally. JJ says abortion's making somebody's a lot of blood money. Totally true. Says that it's modern child sacrifice. Totally true. You respect my passion. Oh, this is David. I'm sorry for going on. In fact, let me go ahead and just pull David up right here so that you know who I'm talking about. Okay. We're going to go ahead here. Oh, man. Okay, I don't want to do that because there's a bunch of stuff up there already. Okay, here we go. I'll bring you up here, David. Because I don't want to be rude and make it like he's just a foil, okay? He said he respects the passion here, but it sounds extreme to you. It sounds extreme to me when someone says that killing a baby doesn't have any legal ramifications. It sounds extreme to me when someone says that the only thing that anybody needs to do is just pray and go to church and spread the gospel, but doesn't understand or appreciate or discuss how that spreading the gospel affects every other aspect of human existence. That's extreme to me. Because, in fact, because it is extreme. It is extreme. Because separatism is extreme. And you say, I don't agree with abortion, but in a secular country, it's allowed. Yeah, okay, it's allowed. But that doesn't mean that it's any good. It doesn't mean it's any less evil. And it doesn't mean, and look, I'm glad you brought up a secular country when talking about it, because we talk about the idea here that we aren't just told to go out and make disciples of individuals and to baptize individuals, but that it has a national import. It's part of it. It's part of it. And so we have to go, we will be punished as nations. God has always done that. If people don't believe that God punishes nations, then God is not a God of history. And all of that stuff, he doesn't have equal justice under the law. There'd be all these countries and all these nations in the past that would say, look, you judged us as a nation. Go through the Old Testament and look. Go through the Psalms. Go in the gospel, man. Go in the Gospels. Go in the book of Revelation. You can go all over the place. He judges nations, man. Judges entire areas. And he asked the question. David says, do you agree with using violence to stop abortion? Not personal violence. So I'm really strict about this. We talk about this. The keeper of the sword, for example, different spheres and institutions have different symbols. So you've got, for example, the family has the rod, for example. The church has the keys. The state has the sword. We see this in the book of Romans. And so the sword is not there for show and fun, okay? It's not there to be like, oh, check out this sword. It's super nice. Oh, do you use it for violence? No. The state has a monopoly on violence. So the idea of individuals going in, for example, going into an abortion clinic and shooting people up. No, that's murder. That's murder. It'd be like saying, well, I support prostitution in our desire to reach the age of purity. That we're going to attain purity and virginity through hooking ourselves out. That's crazy. That's crazy. But do I believe that the state has the right to use violence? And by violence, I'm talking legal force, enforcing law against people who, when they violate it, they obviously are in disagreement with the law. Yes, of course. That's the very definition of it. I'm not some crazy anarchist. So of course, but no, do I encourage people to go and say, oh, a person wants to go and have an abortion, go beat him up? What are you talking about, son? I don't know anybody like this. I know people standing outside abortion clinic here in town, sitting there quietly and praying. The rule being, you do not talk to them. You don't talk to protesters. You don't go and approach anybody. You stand there and you pray. Kind of weird, man. So you really got to do better, man. You want to come at the show, you want to come at me. I get it, but there's righteous indignation. And people can say, yeah, but there sounds like a lot of vengeance, man. A lot of vengeance in your show. And I'd say, oh, okay, I got you, man. There's a lot of vengeance, dude. And I know vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Let's just say that I'm all about doing my daddy's business. And yeah, attacking abortion clinics, I meant. Why, you obviously a little bit delayed on that. I answered that. And no, of course not. I've spoken about that on the show. But I believe that we have, number one, the right to talk about the evil of it. In fact, we don't have a right, not just a right, we have a responsibility to do it. And if people support that kind of crap, they support baby murder, and they are especially people in high-profile positions that have authority over matters of law, if that's the case, well, it's kind of one of those things where if they claim to be a Catholic, maybe they shouldn't be getting communion. and by maybe, I mean definitely. And yeah, self-defense is legit too. Yeah. It's okay. It wasn't only Lynn Wood talking about this. Based University professor placed on leave after exposing satanic globalist elite in an explosive letter. Dude, this was right here at Ferris State University, by the way. This is right here in Ferris State. He said, I believe the COVID-19 pandemic is a stunt designed to enslave humanity and strip us of all our rights and freedoms. Hey, look, the guy's on the money so far. No doubt about it. He said the end result of this hysteria, if left unchecked, will be a mandatory vaccine. No one will be allowed into public places or permitted to buy food in a supermarket unless they present proof of vaccination. Initially, this electronic vaccination certificate will be tied to a person's smartphone, but will soon after be in the form of injectable micro and nanotechnology in the vaccine itself. If this comes about, it will truly be a fulfillment of a prophecy of the market of the beast. Yeah. He said that the entire world has fallen under the spell of a satanic global elite. Their end goal is a technocratic one world government where everyone, Jew or Gentile, will be microchipped and tracked 24/7. And you can actually go and check out the entire letter. You can see it yourself. He probably listens to the show, by the way. He's probably tuning into the show. Oh, man. Hold on a second. Go ahead and get this up here. All right. And I don't normally say that the Chinese media is good on anything. I don't, man. I'm not a big fan of the Chinese Communist Party. Not a big fan of it, but on this, they're actually correct. The China state-run Global Times on Tuesday employed comments made by former President Barack Obama to pronounce doom on American society because the elites have become, quote, fundamentally different from silent, ordinary American people. How many of you feel that way? How many of you feel this way? I know that I do. I know that I felt this way for a very long time. You can see the disconnect. And there's always been, in fairness, there's always been a little bit of disconnect between elites and the paupers, right? The people low down on the totem pole. And so that's always been there. But we see it now that it's so dramatic, the difference. We see it now that it's so dramatic and that it's so far apart and so contradictory that it's turned into just raw hatred. It's raw hatred. People look at it and they lump, it's really easy. Big Hollywood, big tech, big government, big education. And you can see that these elites in these positions of power, with all the fame and all the fortune, that these elites, not only do they hate God, but dude, they hate you. They hate me. They would love nothing more than to make sure that each and every one of us just shut the heck up. They don't want you to talk. They don't want you to spread around what you believe, and that's why they figure out all of these ways. That's why they figure out all of these ways in order to make it so that you are completely quiet, to silence you, to block you, to ban you, to make sure that they have positions of power that make it so that you can't even find a place, even when you win. And we can see that, for example, on the transition team of Donald Trump in 2016. You can see that. You can see it because the people who were in power, even though Trump won, which was astounding, by the way, they wanted to make sure the MAGA folks, you guys ain't getting in here. Oh, no. Oh, no. They made sure you're not getting in. You aren't getting in at all. And real quick, as a goodbye, David McCurtain said, okay, nice listening, but what I hear is a bit too heavy for you. Look, that's fine. That's fine. You got to man up, though. You got to be stronger because times like these, you cannot be limp-wristed. It's just the truth, man. But I mean, look, people like different styles of stuff, man. Some people in over at Holy Faith Media, there's all different styles of stuff. You can sit there and be the kind of person that, you listen to a lady praying the rosary. You can listen to a couple nuns. You can listen to Joe and Joe. You can listen to Meaning of Catholic, where it's kind of a little bit more serious. Or you can turn on this show here, where we're off the wall. In fact, I don't even know. Is there any other show in the Catholic universe that's like this one? Is there? You tell me. Let's see. The Chinese paper says U.S. decline is an inevitable outcome of the structural problems the country has had over the years. If these long-standing problems cannot be completely uprooted, the decline of the U.S. will continue to be irreversible. Nonetheless, Obama is troubled that adversaries have seen the U.S. weaken instead of spending more time and energy on figuring out a way to fix the problem. Such a mentality of U.S. elites will push the U.S. decline further. The U.S. does have an adversary. It's the U.S. itself. But American elites often overlook that. In addition to this systemic structure, and I won't even move on. This is totally true. This is totally true. And it's propaganda, by the way. This is their propaganda. They're using it, so they're focusing on a negative thing. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Because you sit there and you go, yes, it's actually very true. The mentality of these elites, man. What do they do whenever they think there's a problem? What do they say the problem is? The problem is America. They hate who we are. They hate where we came from. And all the while, and look, they lied for so long saying, oh no, we don't hate America first. Remember that? Remember in the early 2000s, you have this idea where you said, man, these leftists, man, they hate America first. They hate America first. They swore up and down, no, we don't. Dude, they lied. They lie repeatedly. They lie about news. They lie about trade. They lie about jobs not coming back. They lie about abortion. We don't believe that. We just want it safe and rare. It's all we want. No, you don't. You want babies dead, bro. You want babies dead. You want babies contracepted out of existence. You want babies LGBTQ out of existence. It's what you want, man. It's what you want. Because you're demoniacs, man. You're lying demoniacs. You've lied for a long time. And every single time there was a problem, what did you do? Not only did you lie, you blamed us. You called us the worst names in the world, and it got so bad that eventually you had to double, triple, quadruple them together. You had to do it. You had to say, you couldn't just say that we were sexist. You couldn't just say we were racist. You couldn't just say we were xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic. Eventually, you just smushed them all together. And eventually that didn't work. So what did you do? You started calling us Nazis. Makes you want to punch somebody in the face, man. That's why we got to control ourselves. That's why it's good to vent, too. To say, look, man, you got to let it out. You got to let these people know you got their number. You got their number. We have a memory to remember this. Over and over, they blamed you. They blamed your religion, guys. How does that make you feel? They blamed God. They blamed Jesus. They blamed the Bible. They blamed the church. They blamed tradition. They blame America. They blame you. They hate you. They cannot wait for you to die. And if you don't die soon enough, then you're going to a re-education camp. That's the way it is. Go back and look. Go back and look and see exactly how this is played out. There's no such thing as a New World Order. Oh, there's no such thing as Bilderberg. There's no such thing as Bohemian Grove. There's no such thing as the Great Reset. These people have lied and lied and lied for so long. But we remember, don't we? And we've got their number. They were wrong. They're wrong about the system. They're wrong about the source. And they're wallowing and thriving, and they're sitting there and they're trying to peddle more and more and more to propagate it as far as they can do. Sin. It's sinister. The entire thing is sinister. But we've been rising up, and now we're here, and we ain't going nowhere. Because now we're getting coordinated. Now we're working together. We're realizing that there's this blueprint and that there is hope. We are triumphant, in fact. In many ways, as angry as we get, we have to be able to look at them and say, it's nothing but a flesh wound. It's nothing but a flesh wound. We are going to keep on marching along. Because in the end, we can see the trajectory of the kingdom. And we can see that no matter all the terrible things, which relative to scale were really, really bad for the groups back then. All throughout history, bad things happen. Relative to scale, it's apocalyptic, which is why you had apocalyptic cults that rose up throughout history over and over and over again. So you have all these apocalyptic cults. We're in the end times. It's about to end. It's entirely over. And what ends up happening? The gospel and the kingdom rise out of that like a phoenix. Saints riding atop that wave. Like that kid on Neverending Story. Sitting there cruising along, fist in the air. Yeah! Onward and upward we go. King of Kings and Lord of Lords is who we serve. Attorney Lynn Wood goes on a tweet storm. This is over at Gateway Pundit. Posts video of destruction and shredding of election fraud evidence in Cobb County. And you can see this. 2 Georgia women filmed the shredding company trucks picking up the trash, quote unquote, from the Jim R. Miller Park election office in Cobb County. Now, is this the one that has a bunch of different ones here? Let me see if I can, I should have the videos just be able to pop up there. All right, sorry about that. Let's see if this ends up working here. Continue to cite. Continue to cite. All right, we're gonna see here. Let's see. I'll reveal the lies. Yeah, because you got to see it. By the way, these evidence. Okay, in fact, this is maybe the tweet storm here. Okay, no, that's a different one. So okay, so somebody's going out and doing that. Let's see here. On Tuesday, Susan Knox is at it again. Let's see here if this is the video, because you got to see it, man. You got to see it. In fact, there are a bunch of these videos. Okay, this is a picture. Elections and voter registration, Cobb County, Georgia. And you can see this shredding documents. You can see it. Ballot destruction. Let's see if this is the video. Because there's a bunch of them. In fact, it was I thought that it was okay, so he's wow, man, even showing the license plate. So he's on it, man. Different evidence that he's got. Let's see this one. You can see him in trash cans. Here we go. There we go. Look at this. Oh, yeah, just shredding those ballots. Ain't no thing. Ain't no thing. Just contested. That's all. But these are the same people, by the way. These are the same people and the same party that even after having a subpoena to provide text messages, got rid of them, wiped the phones, bleach bit the devices, smash them with hammers. Oh, oopsie doopsie. Oopsie doopsie, no problemo. Oh, did I do that? Yes, you did, you sick, crazy person. You wildly insane person who is acting in the most unlawful ways, criminal ways. These are criminal masterminds, dude. Shred it up, dude. Shred it up. Get it gone. Get it gone. We can't allow him to see it. It's real bad. Super dupe bad. Let's see this one.
It's a shredding truck. Here's a shredding truck in front of the Whitlock Avenue Cobb offices, election offices.
Yeah, right in front of the old election office.
A bunch of stuff. I just saw him load some stuff in.
You know what this is called, by the way? Destruction of evidence. Same thing as the hammer on the cell phones. Same thing as the old bleach bit. Same thing as the wiping of the cell phones that were done by the FBI during Russiagate, when we started fighting back and saying, well, wait a second. You people look like a small group that's colluding. You people look like you are colluding a coup, and we gotta see what's up with you. Oh, we can't find them. Magically, all of our devices have been wiped. Huh, ain't that a bummer? Man, wish I could have changed it. Wish I could have changed it, man. Isn't that just a coinky dink? These are the people of coinky dinks, man. Coinky dink people. All of this, by the way, all of these things are coinky dinks. Is this the same one we saw? All of them. Let's see here. It really bums me out, man, that they don't have the... Yeah, okay, these are all the same thing, man. What the heck? Maybe that's not the right article I was looking at. So, okay. And here's the other thing. Here's another coinky dink, by the way. Eric Coomer. What a last name, too. The timeliness of that name. It's a thing, guys. So, but here's the thing. New Eric Coomer video uncovered admits in 2015 that Dominion machines do not have the ability to root out fraudulent ballots. Ain't that a thing? Kind of weird, man. Yeah, no, it doesn't have that ability. It doesn't have that ability. So it doesn't even know how to root it out to know the difference between a fraudulent and one that's illicit, one that's completely legal. And just as a reminder for people who don't know who this guy is, Dr. Eric Coomer, who is responsible for the strategy and security at Dominion Voting Systems. But if you search the company's profile, Eric Coomer has since been removed from their page of directors. You could see it before and you could see it after. Dominion's hilarious. Dominion goes on TV. They don't want to testify. That's not good. They don't want to go and testify in what, Pennsylvania? So they were set to, we want to be transparent. We want to go and we want to testify. We're willing to answer questions. We're here for you. And then what do? They go on CNN. They turned down congressional conversation. It was going to be dialogue, man. It was going to be dialogue. I don't even think that they were under oath, which is a little bit of a joke. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. But the thing is that come to find out, they decided, well, we don't want to do that. We don't want to go ahead. We don't want to talk to anybody in government that could get us in trouble. Instead, we're going to go over to the narrative creators over at CNN. And they hire a Jeb Bush crony. People should go watch the body language ghost or whatever that goes through and talks about the body language of this guy. Raging liar, by the way. Raging liar. This guy. The Jeb Bush guy. But this dude here, Eric Coomer, he was on the board. They weren't ashamed of that. He was the head of strategy and security. That's an important guy. But then the news comes out. And what happens? Oh, poof, gone. Kind of like the bleach bit. Kind of like the hammered phones. Are you seeing a pattern? Are you seeing a pattern here? And then in 2017, Eric Coomer explained how to alter votes in a Chicago demonstration. This then is the second video of top Dominion executive explaining to election officials how to alter votes with the Dominion machine. Here's the video on Rumble. Let's go ahead and play this. Okay, maybe that's not going to work here. Dude, did they take that down? Did they take that down? No, right here. So, okay, right here is 2017. Here we go.
Currently, digitally. This is our digital adjudication system. If you have multiple ICCs, ImageCast Central's running, they all write the data to a network drop location, and you can have multiple adjudication stations for multiple teams to handle the outstacked ballots. This is a typical voter intent issue where they didn't fill out the ovals completely, they just made little tick marks. It's what's called an ambiguous mark. And what we're saying is, we're not sure what the voter intent is, but we're going to allow the adjudicators to make that call based on any kind of state statutes. So right on the screen, I can go ahead and say, you know what? The voter meant to mark these. They wanted those votes to count for those candidates. I can do the back page. I'm not going to fill all of them in here. And then I hit complete. It's going to go on to the next ballot. And this is another classic one where the voter has circled the names instead of filling in the ovals. Any ballot that needs to be looked at will show up automatically on the screen. Some key things here. This is a great tool for doing things like audits and recounts. Okay, so things like 5% recounts these days. We have an entire additional system that works very similar to the adjudication product, but it's for reviewing ballots. So you can select whether you want to filter by precinct, a random selection of precincts, or just a random sampling of ballots across the whole election to actually audit. We're doing that to support things. The buzzword in the industry these days are risk limiting audits.
Yeah, And you know what else it's really good for? Hacking an election. You know what else it's really good for? Fraud. You know what else it's really good for? Exactly what happened in 2020. Exactly what happened. And by the way, just for context, this guy, Coomer, you know when they took his profile down, because I didn't mention this. You know when they took his profile down? They took his profile down after a whistleblower came out and said he was part of a Zoom call with him, with Coomer, where where people, it was an Antifa call, by the way, and people were talking about the election, what they were going to do. And they were talking about Coomer, and Coomer was saying, they were like, well, what if Trump gets elected again? And he says, don't even worry about that. I made sure that will not happen again. How did he make sure? How did he make sure? And why, when instead of Dominion coming out and saying, hey, this is what he meant by that, he meant that it was really secure. Instead, they hid his profile. And then over half of the people who were involved, in Dominion on LinkedIn, who had Dominion listed, over half of those people just poof, gone, vanished. We have evidence of this. You can see pictures of the profiles before and pictures after. Half of them. Why? Why would half of the people just disappear? Yeah. And now there's a new video. A new video of Coomer telling Colorado officials in 2015 that there's no way. So there's been 3 videos now. 3 videos describing exactly the kind of problems that we're dealing with now. Dominion's Trump-hating executive, Eric Coomer, performed a suspicious update in Georgia a week before early voting started. Ain't that kind of convenient? In Georgia, which, by the way, as a reminder, in Georgia, they shut it down because of an alleged water pipe leak at the Atlanta Hawks Stadium. And you want to know what? There was no major pipe leak. In fact, the people involved in the texting said this was wildly overblown. It was a really small minor leak. It was easily contained. There was no reason for that. Oh, but they shut it down. And then when they came back, guess what they found? Bada boom, bada bing, magic, like a rabbit out of a hat. Look at all these votes for Biden. Isn't it weird? Coinky dink. Coinky dink. Again, these are coinky dink people. Yeah, the state told us last week, this is according to 11 Alive News. The state told us last week that the update was routine, but the sheer scope of the update of the state's 34,000 or so voting machines is what's raising eyebrows. The biggest update occurred last week at Fulton County. Look at that. Ain't that a thing? Ain't that just another coinky dink? Oh my gosh. So it happened all over the place, but Fulton County, look at that. Critics have filed suit to scuttle the voting machine because they say the update is more than Georgia's 159 counties can safely handle. Oh, ain't that a thing? Ain't that a thing? Again, quinkydinks. Here's another quinkydink, guys. Confirmed, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger used Dominion's Eric Coomer. Here he is again. And what did he use him for? As a witness for the state to defend last-minute computer changes. Oh, so here's the guy again. Here he is again. Unbelievable. And you can watch the video of that. He called him in to testify. The plaintiffs are flagging this as some apocalyptic scenario on social media, and it's not. This is a very minor issue. Oh, it's a very minor issue, is it? It's a very minor issue. It's turned out not to be. You need to put away the old crystal ball, bro, because you're doing a really bad job. Here's something else that's actually surprising, and then we're going to talk about the Pope, man. We're going to talk about the Pope, because that's on the title, man. And we talked about it earlier a little bit, but you got to just see it. We got to deal with this. 17% of Biden voters said they wouldn't have voted for him if they knew about the media-censored scandals. This is massive. And this is why it is important that we have internet originalism. Why we've got this idea where you go, is it Jonathan Turley? What's his last name? So where he points out the idea of going back to this original idea that it's just a public space. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. You don't play publisher. You don't play, fancy pants by limiting certain kinds of speech. And here's why. This is by Cassandra Fairbanks. She's awesome, by the way. A whopping 17% of Joe Biden's voters said that they would not have voted for him if they were aware of various scandals that were hidden by the mainstream media. The study was conducted by the polling company on behalf of the Media Research Center. It polled 1,750 Biden voters in 7 swing states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. 6 of which, all but North Carolina, were called for Joe Biden. 1 of every 6 Biden voters surveyed, so 17%, said they would have abandoned the Democratic candidate had they known the facts about one or more of the news stories that were mentioned. A shift of this magnitude would have changed the outcome in all 6 of the swing states won by Joe Biden. And what stories were they, by the way? How about Tara Reade's sexual assault allegations? 8.9% told us they would have changed their vote, either switching to Trump or a third party, or not voting for any candidate at all. 45.1% said they were not even aware of the scandals surrounding Hunter Biden. Think about this. Think about this. Jack Dorsey can apologize all day long at Congress when challenged by Ted Cruz. He can apologize all day long and say, "Oh no, it was a mistake on our part. It was a mistake, number one." No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. We don't buy that anymore. You're not even a believable person. You're not a believable person. Maybe you're in a bind. Maybe you're really one of those guys that really believes this, but you just can't control the company that you're heading up. Maybe that's what it is. We don't believe you anymore, Jack. You're full of crap, dude. But you guys made it so that people couldn't even see. You blocked the New York Post from posting. Facebook, all of the major media outlets, all of them sat there deprioritizing, making it as if it was a joke, saying it wasn't there, not asking a single question. Again, man, don't believe them anymore. You have to know your enemy, guys. But the media didn't just hide Biden's scandals, they also hid Trump's successes. 39.4% of Biden voters were unaware of the 11,161,000 jobs that were recently created. This would have changed the votes of 5.4% of the responders. We saw the same effect when it came to foreign policy. The president and his team made history by brokering peace agreements with Israel and several of Israel's Arab neighbors. It's one reason why Trump received 3 nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize, yet 43.5% of Biden voters had no idea about the agreements. None. The information would have led 5% of overall Biden voters change their vote. If you don't think, and I like the ending, if the people are not given proper information, how can they make an informed decision as a public? This goes to the heart of the debate over Parler, and you're seeing it play out. You're seeing CNN interview people, and they're really worried, man. They're really worried about Parler because Parler, unlike Facebook and unlike Twitter, they're not forcing their fact checkers down people's throats. They're just letting people post things. And it's like, yes, because otherwise you have situations like this. Because you have situations like this. You are not an informed citizenry if after everything is done, you get polled. 1,750, that's a decent number for a poll like this. Just sit there and say, you're going to poll them, and they're going to say 43% of those people had no idea that Trump had brokered peace agreements between Israel and a bunch of its former enemies. They had no idea. 39% had no idea that over 11 million jobs had been recently created. They had no idea about the kind of scandals that were involved in Hunter's laptop. no idea. Some of them involving Joe Biden himself. Claims to do with money, claims to do with selling out to China, and not just claims, but evidence of it. Text messages. Text messages that prove that he knew that his son had been accused of crazy stuff having to do with little kids, and that there were pictures of him smoking crack, driving around town, smoking crack, having a porn site, all this other stuff, and knowing it and not intervening. People just didn't know. And so they don't make informed decisions at all. Oh, but you got your fact checkers. Oh, you've got CNN. That's shoved down your throat at every airport and all these hospitals. You've got CNN. They're on it for you. You don't need to worry about hearing this stuff. If it doesn't go through their channel, it's not real. These are masters of the universe. These are puppet masters par excellence, man. Pope Francis lashes out at lockdown protesters. They'd never protest children lacking water. If you guys are just tuning in right now, and we'll go to the comments after this. So if you're just tuning in right now, I talked about this a little bit earlier, okay? But if you missed it, I'll reiterate this because it's the third hour now. So here's the thing. He's dead wrong. He's dead wrong. In fact, there are a lot of people in very poor areas of America and around the world who have protested lead in their water because of the way it impacts themselves, the way that it impacts Granny, the way that it impacts little Jimmy and little Sally. Because the way it impacts them, they're definitely protesting children lacking water. And I'm one of these people, not because I lacked water, but because Flint, Michigan, and other places in Flint was kind of the seed of this all. This is where the hot spot, right? People were looking at Flint. But the thing is, it wasn't just Flint. And I was in the early phases of covering this story. And even when, it was crazy. So many things, man. We'll cover stories and, weeks, months, occasionally years later, the mainstream media will talk about something. It works its way up to the masters of the universe, and then it becomes reality. All the while, it's been real for the people. It's been real for those who cover it like me. It's been real the entire time. But I covered this story on AM/FM radio. We talked about this stuff. We brought people on who made documentaries about this stuff. We supported different live streams to do with town halls where people would go in and talk to individuals about this stuff. And it was in Michigan too, so it was especially personal. And if he doesn't think that a lot of Trump supporters have been around the world making it so that they can go to places, impoverished places all around the world, to help kids and families to have access to water and access to medicine. They're not just out there protesting saying people aren't lacking water. They are proactively engaged in that. And to throw those people under the bus is despicable. What Pope Francis did is despicable. And he's just ignorant. He lives in a bubble. He lives in a bubble. And even when he goes, I'm so sorry to say this. I hate saying this. Because I have to give respect to the chair. You have to. I'm a Catholic. I'm not a set of a conscience. I'm not going to sit there and pontificate like I'm some kind of pope. But I can look at a pope and say, I think you've done something wrong. He's got to get on his knees too. That chrism of infallibility doesn't apply to every single thing he does. His farts aren't infallible. Give me a break. He says and does things that are able to be criticized. And in this particular instance, most definitely able to criticize that and say, you don't even know what you're talking about. Because even when you go into those places, where there's tons of poor people, you are still surrounded by guards. You are still, they are a hedge of protection around you. And I'm glad they're there. But in humility, you need to accept that, don't you? Doesn't he need to accept that, guys? That if he comes against people who want to have home protection, they believe in having the right to bear arms. Or a nation that doesn't like being invaded by caravans of people that they can sit there and say, we believe in having fences. We believe in having walls, not to keep everybody out so that we're isolationists. We're bringing in more people than any other country in the world. How dare you? But to direct traffic, because we're not anarchists. And we don't want people going through these crazy regions. We don't like the coyotes. We don't like the rape culture that happens out in these terrible, in the terrible terrain that people are trying to go across when they should just simply go to the legal route. But he bashes it. All the while he's surrounded by a wall. Why hasn't he deconstructed that thing? Why hasn't he told all of his guards, I don't need you anymore? I don't need the protection anymore. I don't need people who are specially trained in some of the most intense military training in the world. I don't need you around me. We're good. I'm an example. Because his whole life is literally handed to him every day from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to sleep, and even while he's asleep on a silver platter. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Look, my problem is when pretending that doesn't matter when you're criticizing people who every day have to get up and have to work crappy freaking jobs, that they have to be afraid because they're looking around and seeing violence all around them, because they're looking around and they're seeing that they're confused. They're confused because they can go and talk to doctors, and the doctors say, there's many doctors and many scientists that will go and say, look at these numbers. It's crazy to have it on lockdown. Kids should be going to school. People should be going back to work. Even if there's ways to phase it in, even if there's ways to say certain ones and things like that it's a proactive model, not one of go inside and hide because the monster's outside your door. And they see that. And then they're told by these leaders, they're told that, you know what, you all have to go inside. You're not allowed to go to work. You got to keep paying your bills, though. You got to keep paying your bills. My dad is one of these people. My dad has a business that has been ravaged by COVID. In fact, I don't know if my dad's business is even going to continue very long. It's a travel business, and they go to people's homes that are celebrities of the silver screen. So there's a lot of people who are older. There's a certain kind of demographic. The majority of the people, they're not coming out. And more than that, they're told, you can't open your doors. You can, but you can't have the buses going. And all these different buses, all these different groups around California where my dad lives, he's out in Palm Springs. All these people, all these different organizations and businesses, they're all saying the same thing. They're like, look, we are bleeding out money. We're bleeding it out. We're trying the best we can, but we're basically telling the banks, we're not going to pay anymore. Those banks, the repo man will come, and the repo man will take your stuff. That's adding insult to injury. People have to work. The saints have gone into leper colonies. And the Pope now is telling everybody to hide and not to be mad when they're watching their entire livelihood, the dreams that they've worked for, everything else that they put blood, sweat, and tears into. They're watching it being taken away, all the while seeing numbers on the screen every single day that says 99.7% of people who get this are not going to die. They're seeing conflicting messages about the idea that, you know what? Should we, in fact, be around other people? There are prominent people in the medical and scientific community that believe, number one, the masks don't even work. And it's a simple logic, by the way. It's a simple logic. We made a joke out of it by saying, okay, some people, just put anything over your face. Put a tampon over your face. But not a snake. Don't put a snake over your face. That doesn't absorb. And you sit there and you go, why? Well, because the space in between, and you go, oh, okay, now that you brought that up, the holes in those masks. Do you know the likelihood that those holes, or not even the likelihood, do you know how big they are by relative scale to the size of the virus? It'd be easy. It's going to get through. That's why we have numbers about how many people were wearing masks all the time and they end up getting sick. In a rant by Pope Francis. This is over at LifeSite News. Who wrote this? Just LifeSite News. In a rant by Pope Francis where he lets down his guard and allows his leftist colors to show more than in the past, the Pope said of anti-lockdown protesters, you'll never find such people protesting the death of George Floyd. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because there was no reason to actually protest that. Not at the scale. Why should I? Why should I? And can the Pope name any of the people, white people? Can he name any of them? Can he name any of them in the United States who have died under crazier circumstances than that? Can he? People who were actually obeying the law. People who were being told by police that they needed to get down on the ground to move without moving. And they're drunk. And they're begging. I promise I'm not trying to do anything. They have no weapon, no nothing. Shot up with holes, man. Bam, 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 bam. Can he name a single one? Money Down says he can't. Money Down says he can't. It's tragic what happened to George Floyd. Part of the tragedy, and maybe the Pope just doesn't know about it, that he was on a whole bunch of drugs. That his friends got out of the car and they did not resist arrest like him. And they were like, look, hey, man, this guy's got a lot of problems. And he says you won't see people joining demonstrations because there are shanty towns where children lack water or education. Dude, this guy, don't you understand? In fact, don't you even understand what a vote for Donald Trump would be? That's a protest vote. That's saying we hate the education that we've gotten. We've been undereducated. We don't have certain amenities. We've been mocked and marginalized. You talk about going to the margins all the time. Why don't you come face to face with the deplorable? Why? You don't know us. You don't understand us. You don't know how. And instead, what do? You shoot them. You shoot people while they're down. You sit there and you kick somebody already on the ground. You join the venomous mob of people who, for our entire life, we become so accustomed to people like you. We become so accustomed to people like you that, as mad as I am about this, you know how many other people just wave you to the side and say, figures. It's just another person. It's just another raging elitist that's in a bubble that doesn't understand anything. Because you don't. Because you're in a bubble, surrounded by a wall, protected by some of the greatest military forces in the world. Life handed on a silver platter to you. You don't know us and you don't care. And that breaks our heart. But we can't sit there and be manipulated. We aren't going to be manipulated by this because what you said here is nothing but an echo. It's an echo of the same thing that we've heard from all of the God-loathing elitists, from the sickos and the perverts, the baby-murdering weirdos, to mutilate their crotches, to mutilate their breasts, to contracept their kids out of existence. Those people, you sound just like them. And we long ago stopped caring what they had to say. The difference between them and you is you're the Pope. And you don't care about us. In fact, I would go even further. And you're so wrong. Think about it. People whose families have lost their income. What do you think the protests are about? You have no idea what you're talking about. What's wrong with you, actually? What is wrong with you? Why do you think they're anti-lockdown? People are anti-lockdown because they want to go to work. They've lost their jobs. They can't bring in the money anymore. That's why. Those who claim, for example, that being forced to wear a mask is an unwarranted imposition by the state He calls them victims only in their own imagination. That's the most absurd thing in the world. I would love to hear what the Pope says. And look, I'm really glad that he doesn't have the chrism on scientific inquiry, because he's just dead wrong. He's just dead wrong. Where is it, by the way? Give it to us, by the way. Tell us how the porous nature of all of the masks, how it's going to stop a virus that is way smaller than the holes in the mask. Do tell. Do tell. Do tell us the long history of studies that have been done. Do tell. Do tell why the Danish study was postponed for so long. Do tell where the Danish study goes wrong. This says the masks are no good. Do tell why people who wear masks all the time are going in to the hospital and they're with COVID and they're saying, look, I wear them all the time. Do tell. Victims by statistics, publicly available statistics. The Pope should have access to them. But again, in a bubble, surrounded by people no different than the USCCB. Same kind of people, man. Same kind of bubble. With all the virtue signaling painfully evident in the book, Pope Francis himself is not all that concerned about mask wearing in his own house. And this is why we all just shake our head. It's disgusting, man. And I'm saying man to people. I'm not saying man to the Pope. In fact, I'm trying to refrain from even referencing, giving too many references because I don't want to muddle it up, man. But the thing is, in his own house, nor at large gatherings, just yesterday in the Vatican, the Pope met with NBA players and officials from the National Basketball Players Association. The meeting took place indoors without masks and also without social distancing. Ha 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 ha! Ain't that sweet for you? Ain't that sweet for you? Again, just add that to the laundry list of luxuries that you have. Just add it to the list. We're not as special as you. We get that. You're the Pope, for crying out loud. We're just peons. We're just paupers. We're just people down on the totem pole. But we're able to look up and we're able to see when crap comes down on us. And your butt is showing. Your butt is showing. It's embarrassing. It's scandalous. You don't know how this is scandal? It's unbelievable. It's outrageous. How can you not know? When you attack people like that, and then you go, you're no different than the governor of California. You're no different. Telling people they're not allowed to leave the house because the monster's on the outside and it's going to come and get them. And you're telling people that crap. And then you're going and doing that. Just like he went to the party. He went to a party with a bunch of people, heads of the medical association in California. He went to a party, not socially distanced, in an enclosure that they were able to close the windows off. It was big doors and had glass doors, and they were to close it off. Not socially distanced. And what did he do? He made excuses. And in that way, maybe he's actually even better than you. Because I don't know if you're actually going to come out and say you're sorry for this. At least he had to put himself in front of a camera and look like a dummy. And not act like everything was fine and that his actions were not a grotesque. Well, he did. He acted, but he at least put himself out there. People can throw tomatoes all day long. And we did it on the show because he looked stupid. Oh, I went to dinner early. My friend put a lot of work into it. Who cares? Who cares? I got back before 9:30. Who cares? I should have stood up and walked out, but I didn't. And I got down and we ate some food and it was delicious. Who cares? Deflection, red herring. Deflection, red herring. That's all it is. So we can throw tomatoes at him. We can mock him. We can pull them up and say, look, everybody, we can use that. But with you, I would not bet anything that you would ever apologize from a sincere heart for publicly meeting with the NBA players and officials from there, indoors, without masks, without social distancing, after saying what you did about people like me and my listeners. And it breaks my heart. Catholics deserve better. Catholics deserve better. And you requested the meeting too. God help us. God help us, because ultimately we're going to be in situations like this.
Over a fucking mask. Fucking good old David over here. I had to take this off to breathe for a second, so what does he do? He calls the fucking cops.
Dude, I'm not resisting.
That's what I'm saying.
In this yard. I am not.
How is he resisting?
He's tensing his arms.
No, he's not.
Dude, I don't know
I got
what
this
you
on
call
video,
this, but that's
man.
kind of a natural reaction when two guys are assaulting you.
Right.
People getting arrested. We showed a video yesterday of a man who got arrested because he breathed on somebody. And that was in Michigan. It was in Michigan. It's so tragic, guys. It's so tragic. I'm not even going to do any more things here. We're just going to go ahead and just get ready to close out. I'm done. I'm done. I didn't want to say any of those things that I said. But we have to be willing to call out hypocrisy. We need to be able to say, look, maybe you just don't understand. Maybe you've never come to this margin and encountered the other. We hear that crap all the time, don't we? You need to encounter the other. Encounter the other. Go to the margins all the time. And you know how we're so marginalized? Because they don't even recognize that we are. We're so far out on the margin. You know what? Try making fun of somebody. Try making fun of a black or indigenous or person of color. Try making fun of somebody who's queer. Try making fun of that. Do it on a big scale and find out what happens to you. And then go ahead and make fun of a hillbilly. Make fun of a redneck. Make fun of uneducated white people. Make fun of hoity-toity white people. Make fun of any of those people. Make fun of Catholics. Drag them through the mud in all of the Hollywood movies and see how many people rise up to complain. And they blame it on our privilege, which is hilarious. Oh, it's such a privilege. It's a real honor. It's a real honor to almost hold an exclusive place in the realm of groups you're still able to mock. Groups you're still able to ignore. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. It's a privilege to not even be recognized as being on the margin. To not even be recognized as a protest vote that says we are sick and tired of an elite that does not understand the values of the people that it claims to represent. Or that it's at least supposed to. They don't even claim anymore. They force it down our throats. It's a great reset to them. These people, nothing but Jolly Rogers in the brain whenever they think of some utopian scheme. Never been tried. That's okay. We're going to force it down your throat. Nothing's going to happen. We're sick and tired of the demons. We're sick and tired of the deconstruction. We're sick and tired of the degeneracy. And we're sick and tired of not being heard. And you want to know what? Sorry to tell you, we're going to be heard more and more and more and more and more. And there ain't jack that you can do about it. There ain't jack that you can do. It's on like Donkey Kong. We are here. We are a wolf pack. And we are howling. We're on the prowl. All right, in the comments real quick. And then we're going to go. And by the way, I appreciate all this stuff here. Appreciate everybody. Tracy said the hatred is a trap. Yeah. I don't know exactly. Let's see. I'm struggling with that too. Yeah, talking about it's easy to get really filled with hatred. Someone said here, let's see. Jeremiah King, you dropped this. Dude, yes, dude. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate it, by the way. Appreciate your support, man. I appreciate all of you. Oh, okay, sorry about that. I'm going through the comments and I didn't have it on the screen. I apologize. I apologize, guys. Apologize for that. Yes, okay, Tracy says, as a veteran of foreign wars, it's hard not to feel hatred and blame for the people who voted for Biden and Harris. They're communists, ruining the country that I fought for. It's true. And you know what's crazy? I'm sick and tired as someone, you know, I'm a veteran. I was never sent over to war. And by the way, thank you for your service. You know, but I was never sent over to war. But I lived in a time of war. I have a medal for serving during a time of war. And, you know, I look at it and I say, I've seen people go and I've seen their obituaries. I knew some. And I've made it my mission. You know, I'm not anti-war in the sense of being a pacifist. That's why I would never wear a shirt that says I'm already against the next war. I wouldn't do that. At the same time, I believe that we have to get to a position of just war and realizing that that's a really strict rule. And it's not some loosey-goosey thing that folks like Biden and folks like George Bush and things like Mitt Romney and John McCain and all these, Bill Clinton, all of these people in the Uniparty that we've been living under their thumb for a very long time, that they have felt sufficient to send over our young and women to bleed and die and come back even maimed for. Bring them home. Bring them home. Somebody said my show is kind of like Church Militant. Is it really? Is this show really like Church Militant? You think so? I don't know, man. I have it on good authority that there's at least a couple people there that watch the show, maybe on the regular. I would consider them Wolfpack members. Definitely loving those folks. But you know, I've never actually been there, and when I watch, I think that the show is way different. I do. I don't know anybody who pulls the stunts that I do, either with the goofiness in the beginning of the show, or even you know the really personal stuff that comes out all the time. Sometimes even with tears, people cry. Sometimes listening to the show, or even the part where, you know, going off the handle. You know, but they're intense though. They have a level of intensity that they don't have. Maybe the pizzazz, the theatrics, the spectacle of what I do. Blah, going off, you know, flipping out, pointing in and doing my thing. Yeah. Let's see. The father of lies, when he speaks, it's in his native language. Yes. Yeah. Father of lies. Yes. So when these people, that's by Mahatma Gandhi. When these when these people are lying over and over and over, you know who their father is, man. Poignant says, the war is not against the creatures of flesh and blood, but against the principalities of darkness. We have to pray for our enemies because they're slaves to the devil, and God wants them for his own. It's true, but I don't believe that they're puppets. And that's why I think it's about seeing that really we can see past them, but it's not as if they don't have any culpability. It's kind of like, you know, if we're fighting against rape and murder, for example, you know, it may be a demonic thing or the principalities of darkness that are working through a person that's causing this. But yet at the same time, we're not going to say, well, you know, you've repented, therefore you're not going to go to jail, right? There's still, there's a heavenly dynamic, a spiritual dynamic, and a physical and earthly dynamic within space and time. Deborah said, it's a process, so I'm keeping myself away from the liberals that I know for now until I process some of the anger. That might be good, you know. Don't separate entirely. You have to be a good influence on them, and we have to be able to be an influence on these people. And it's good sometimes to step away for a moment, take a breath, pray it out, figure out what's going on. But ultimately, we have to be in the world, but not of the world, because we are that sanctifying influence that takes place and justifying influence through the world, through our actions, through our encounters with other people, through going out to the margins, by the way, which we're already there, so we can shake hands with other people on the margins. See. Yeah, Deborah says, why do they always seem to get away with the destruction of evidence, talking about people who are destroying evidence of voter fraud, which is, now we've got evidence of that, by the way. You know, at least we have evidence of it all the time. And that's the thing. It's like the people who destroyed the beach blit, or the bleach bit destruction that was going on with emails and all of this. We can see it. We can see that, you know, talk of the hammers and smashing all of these phones and everything. Well, we took a hammer to it, or it's all gone. We're sorry, we can't get what you wanted. Or, oh yeah, well, I deleted all of this after I went through and made, I gave you guys all the ones that were important. Everything else was about yoga and my daughter's wedding. Hey, don't, just trust me, it's okay. Or the idea that the FBI didn't even have access to the server that was allegedly hacked to do any kind of investigation. They just simply had to trust an organization that was paid millions of dollars by the DNC. That sounds legit. That sounds like a really good, you know, legal way of dealing with things, right? It'd be thrown in a court in a heartbeat. Yeah. And people are finding hope. Let's see. Night Shift says, excellent podcast, very informative. I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful. I do my best, man. I give it everything I got every day. And I do. And I do it for you guys because honestly, man, you know, I sincerely hope that we as a group, and I know I joke around about the wolf pack and I'm all excited and stuff. The truth is, that's the only way we're going to do this. That's the only way we're going to do this, man. And never mentions abortion himself. Let's see. Firecracker, you know why all this corruption is going on in our world, country, and church? I think it might be because God is testing us and knows we're strong enough to stand up, even if we don't think we are. You know, I said something similar to that, Firecracker. I said something similar to that on Meaning of Catholic. I said that there are times that in history that nations will go through times of discipline, times where the pipers come, right? He's there for the reaping, and you got to pay the piper because we've been doing a bunch of sins. We've been tolerating it. And I said, we're truly a great country. We are truly great. But at the same time, we have done and endorsed and permitted, given license to, and in fact, even encouraged some of the greatest, some of the absolute most depraved, sinful things that the world has ever known. I.E. with my finger says legal immigration is bad too. I'm all about that, by the way. I'm all about that. I'm about saying that we need to be very careful even with legal immigration. You know, we need to be especially careful with illegal immigration to make sure that traffic is directed, right? We don't just say drive wherever you want. In the same way, we would not say, no, just come over the border wherever you want. We don't care. You know, it doesn't matter if you have the right to drive or anything like that. Just drive a car. Drive it anywhere. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We'd hate to be discriminatory, you know. And it's like you have to have a discrimination in this sense. You have to have it because otherwise, you know, if you don't do this, then you won't be able to distinguish between people who want to come here who are, I don't know, not rapists or not murderers or not child and drug traffickers, and you wouldn't be able to distinguish it. So you just come into your country and you're hoping you can deal with it. And it's like, no, you cut that off right away. You cut that off right away, man. Deborah Strickland says the depression is what communists want. They want to have control over the masses. It's part of the Great Reset. James says, George Floyd dies, riots and looting occur, then about 15 black people die. Do you think people like the Pope would see the irony in this? Sadly, no. No. People on the left don't. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't even want to talk about the fact that, you know, some of the people that the Pope referenced as being protesters who would be at the protest that he's talking about, some of those are the exact same professional protesters that are out there with Chaz and Chop, right? The protesters that the leftist people who were trying to make a sovereign little place there, independent from the state around it and all that. And what, you know, maybe he doesn't know this, but there was a whole bunch of black people who were dead inside there. A whole bunch of black people dead inside. More people died in that short period of time. In fact, if you add it all up and you say, well, how many black people have been dying because of this? It dwarfs the number of people, black people who have been killed, who are unarmed. Now, and even being unarmed doesn't mean not dangerous. It does, however, mean that it's different than if somebody comes at you with a knife. You know, there's no idea. It's lunacy to say, oh, maybe the cop should be really good at kung fu. No, dude, have a gun. Pop that dude to the ground. He comes at you with a freaking machete, pop him down, period. You ain't going to play footsies with that. That's the way that works. Alabama Rover says Pope Francis is a clown. It's starting to look like it. I don't even like saying that, but it's starting to look like it, ain't it? Maybe it's looked like it for a long time. In fact, it has on a lot of different issues. But I try not to do that because I'm trying really hard to be a faithful son of the West, a faithful son of Christendom, a faithful son of the Catholic Church. And I try. And I try not to be, speaking beyond my authority. It's why I even emphasize certain themes and topics on the show. I'm a journalist with a degree in journalism and mass comm. I've studied political science. I have my minor in that. And I've studied theology and apologetics for most of my life. And I enjoy science. I'm by no means, I don't talk about mathematics too much here. And if I do, I rely upon people and models that I can look at and say, okay, this makes sense. And I always tell people if I've gone wrong with something. In fact, I think it was yesterday. I talked about, I think it was either the title or I said that more hate crimes were committed by people of color due to FBI analysis. That statement was untrue. Statistically speaking, they are more likely to commit it. Okay, in fact, 2 times the representative sample. And with us, it's not even matching with white people, including especially if you include Hispanic, Latino. If you include that in there, you would have an even lesser margin. So we're not even, at 50-some% or whatever. And yet we're as much or more of the general population. That's actually a significant statistic. But it would be incorrect to say that it was the numerically more. And so I told my buddy called me out on it. He said, hey man, and it may have, as I said, it may have been over at, I don't know if it's Big League Politics or where it was. It may have been the title of it. But the truth is, I said, look, I'm willing to deal with that kind of thing. I'm willing to deal with people. If they bring up something that I misspoke, go ahead and bring it up. Go ahead and bring it up. Talk about it. But try to stick with the things that are your strength, man. And stay within your realm of authority, man. We're not the Pope. Spooky Cat says, complete lack of charity on the part of Francis. Not appropriate at all coming from the Pope. He needs to go to confession. I think so too. I think that is something that someone should go to confession about. Because they completely ripped into people. He completely ripped in to people like me and people like you. People who everyday folks, man, the Johnny Q's and Sally Sue's living on Main Street. Have all the kids come down. We're out of here. And lastly, Headbanger Ministries. What's the deal with Pope saying one world religion for all people? I'd need to see that exact quote. But Catholicism makes that claim, by the way. Oh, yeah. Oh. Ben? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. So as we're closing out the show, and here, man, let me go ahead and get back to this main screen. Okay. Yeah, so here's my family, by the way. Let me go ahead and scooch this over so you guys are all in here. Let's see. Do. Yeah, Mama, you got to get in here, baby. You got here. Scooch over in between Athen and Amber. And that way, yeah. So, okay. So, all right. Let me scooch this a little bit more because I want you guys to be able to see my family, man. There we go. And this is little Louie. Right here is Teresa. Oh. Sorry, I'm over here. Yeah, okay. Teresa. I got Ambrose right behind me. Yeah, come on over. There you go. I got Athanasius. I got little Wolfgang. And there's my beautiful wife, Ailey. Her name's Angela. And tomorrow is our 18th anniversary. Yes. Our 18-year anniversary of being married. And I'm very, very grateful for my wife. But I wanted to make sure not only to let you guys see the family, because this is what the show is about, right? We are part of that group of people in flyover country. We're the Main Street folks, right? We are the Johnny Q's and Sally Sue's doing our best every single day, whether it's school, whether it is work, whether it's play, no matter what it is, that we're giving our best every single day. And it's not always perfect, but we do our best. And when we fail and when we make a mistake, we admit it and we confess it and we resolved to amend it and make it better. And so we wanted to bring them down and to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and also to apparently thank Ben and Dennis, that is Wolfgang's godmother and soon-to-be godfather. But what did they get us? They gave us some books?
A book and an advent calendar.
Oh, so they gave us a book and an advent calendar. And Ben's a big supporter of the show. I've said before, she's an angel on our shoulders, and trying to keep me, calm down because I can get pretty crazy. And and she stumbled on the show when I was doing just audio podcasts, and it was a little bit more John Tesh, right? It wasn't quite so intense and stuff like that. And so very, very, very grateful for her and grateful for the support, not only for our family, but also, of course, for the show. And so we wanted to make sure to do that. But look, everybody, we hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. We hope that it's filled with food and family and fun. And at the end of the night at 9 p.m., you have to go paleocratdiaries.com. There will be a video that you can click on that can only be found there, where we're going to have a family-centered episode. It's going to be fun. There's not going to be a bunch of politics. It'll be a family-centered episode. Maybe even have some of the kids come down, stuff like that. Throughout the show, tell some stories, have some fun, a lot of interaction with the comment section. And that will only be available at paleocratdiaries.com. So you're going to have to go. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. It hasn't been posted yet. And keep prayers for the show. And if you love what you saw, and I hope you do, I hope you do, the people you see in this frame right now, this is why I do it. I do it because we've made a sacrifice to send our kids to Sacred Heart Academy. And this is a contribution, not just in the grand scheme of things, but in an immediate and direct way of saying to put forward my best, right? To put my best forward every single day, and to dedicate 100% of the funds that we receive dedicated to the show. It doesn't matter if it's a one-time donation or it's a monthly donation, whether it's Cash App or PayPal, it doesn't matter. 100% of that goes toward my children's education at Sacred Heart Academy. You should learn more about that online. We're really grateful. So here we go, guys. We got 1 minute countdown. 1 minute remaining. When you hear that music, you know it's over. We're super grateful. Of course, go to paleocratdiaries.com. Your wildest dreams and imaginations will come true there. I can't promise that, but I can promise you're not going to regret it. It's a really cool place, and certain blogs are posted there and nowhere else. If you'd like to be on the show for interviews, we're going to be cranking those out real soon. Already got some in the works right now. If you'd like to interview me on your show, if you want to debate or get involved in a panel discussion, face-to-face, mask or no mask, all of that, or any other questions and inquiries, make sure paleocratdiaries@gmail.com or visit the Connect panel at paleocratdiaries.com. Okay, so you can go to paleocratdiaries@gmail or you can go to paleocratdiaries.com. Either way, connect with us. Apparently my phone number is even on there. We need to take that off, by the way, guys. We need to get it off right now. Make sure to subscribe over at Paleo Cheese Podcast and meaningofcatholic.com. And until next time, remember, as we always say, never give up. Keep on smiling. And memento mori. I love you guys. If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off. The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge, and maybe a funeral procession.